Hey guys, today we're going to be watching live chase coverage, 3-hour police chase on Los Angeles, on a high-speed chase in Los Angeles. So now, YouTube channel.
Alright, everybody, we have a police chase live in Los Angeles, California. We're hearing this is South LA. Skyfox over the scene, working to get some more info on exactly what these people in this vehicle are wanted for. You can tell there's more than one person. When it brings the reports here on News Now, we've got multiple breaking news stories happening.
God, stop. Lord, I wish.
Alright, we have a police chase live in Los Angeles, California. We're hearing this is South LA. Skyfox over the scene, working to get some more info on exactly what these people in this vehicle are wanted for. You can tell there's more than one person. And when it brings reports here on News Now, we've got multiple breaking news stories happening.
So I have to restart it one more time. That's it. So let's listen up. It was going, but it's back on now. It's coming back on. It's back on now. Let's listen now. That means you don't have. If you guys know when you're on police chase in history.
Alright, just learning that this is an attempted traffic stop in Southgate, California. Now they're in South LA. Skyfox flying above and monitoring the situation.
I know. Car. It's not car.
And you'll see him just make a left turn there, and now in the Huntington Park area, as he's blowing by traffic, he does have the stretch of this particular street to himself. You can see an SUV, LAPD SUV right behind him here, as he's going to approach another intersection, another very busy intersection, and he goes right through that.
And those cities, small cities, they join each other in close proximity, so it's not unusual to go from one city to the other, different cities within the county of Oregon. We have 88 cities in the county, and a number of the small cities, Huntington Park would be one of those small cities.
This is specifically South Alameda Street and East 67th Street is the latest intersection.
So we see him continuing. We see a number of vehicles that are behind. Again, the pursuit is continuing. It's not one of those pursuits where we see a lot of high speeds with 50+ miles per hour now. We've seen much faster than that, but now he's speeding up again. So it's up and down on that phenomenon accelerator. It's like he's up in the 50 range.
He comes to a cul-de-sac here, so this is an opportunity, you would think, for LAPD once they make their way into a cul-de-sac, but he scoots around all of those officers and he's backtracking from where he just came.
And he was apparently on the wrong side of the WLs, which is also very hazardous. Now, this is an area block him in.
Now he's driving potentially on the wrong side of the road, going into an intersection. Police right there with him, and he continues to move.
This is where you can do a nice job. This would be doing the precision intervention technique. And you see all those cars making the U-turns. There's probably 12 cars or thereabouts. That would be a good area to block off a particular cul-de-sac, but didn't happen. Now we see heavy traffic. There's a pedestrian going through the crosswalk. Very heavily populated area that this violator is in now.
Hey, Dennis, we are getting a little bit more information. As you had alluded to, this suspect is wanted for a domestic attack, and allegedly while he's in driving right now, he's actually hitting the female passenger.
Yeah, I mean, when we saw the close-up shot inside the car, it looked like the guy, now he's making a dramatic turn, may have been striking the woman, or at least moving his arms very intensely inside there, and so he may have actually been hitting that female passenger as he drives. Starting to drive a little more wildly now as we move into the side streets, sort of running out of room, going into what looks like an alley here, a bit of a dirt road, what looks like some trash, sort of out of space.
You'll see him here at a dead end, so he's come to a stop.
So where do you go from here? This is where, things could be dangerous for police, because we don't know if he's armed. Clearly he's lashing out at this woman. You would imagine at this point
he is coming out just a little bit more.
Dennis, does the fact that this woman is in the front, does that make him more eager to try to end this thing? And the fact that they're getting reports that she's being attacked during this?
And by the way, he just took a
dirt road. This looks almost like a baseball field, but it's not.
It is a cul-de-sac. They do want to take him into custody as quickly as possible.
Oh my God, he hit a fence.
The passenger, the driver, whether it's his wife, girlfriend, whatever the case may be, or kidnapped victim.
Through a fence, driving through a fence, taking it with him, and continuing to go.
And you see the bike there. There's a pedestrian who just took off running, literally, just to avoid getting hit by this.
Now people are in what looks like could be a park area, driving right through a park, driving through trees. This is very dangerous. This is getting more and more dangerous. Clearly this driver getting increasingly desperate. Kind of amazing that his car is still going after driving through that fence.
And that fence, there's a bicycle on the other side of that fence, so we don't know where that bicycle rider is. But he's, now we see a pedestrian as he's going through this park area, extremely hazardous, extremely dangerous. And as we get out of those trees, we're going to see him get back on the roadway.
Yeah, he gets right back on the roadway, so it's, the fact that LAPD had him right there at the dead end, and, now here we are again, back to where we started.
Right, exactly. Now he'll go up and down those streets, whether he's familiar with those areas or not. He'll continue to try to move. He's not going to get anywhere. Again, when we have a chopper overhead, that chopper is going to keep close view. There's no way the individual is going to escape, especially with a female passenger. Whatever that relationship is, it doesn't really matter. The fact is he's assaulting her. He's committing more crimes than just a pursuit. So now you've got assault. Maybe he has a weapon, assault with a weapon. Maybe he's just all kinds of possibilities. The concern is get him into custody, get that car stopped, get him into custody, and rescue that lady from that vehicle to that individual.
And you gotta wonder whether that car sustained any damage driving through that fence and also driving on roads that aren't really roads. That cars haven't necessarily made to do that.
No, it's not. Is that his car or is that her car? Did you steal the car? Is the car belong to a friend? Normally you don't do that type of damage or drive that way in your personal vehicle. You have a little concern for it, but this isn't that individual, the suspect's car. He always doesn't care what happens to the car. But those units are keeping close distance. This is not a tracking situation. Again, you've got a victim in that car along with a suspect. You want to get that car stopped. This isn't the kind of a situation where we go on a tracking mode because we don't know what can happen to that female passenger. Since our reports that he's been striking her, how well began. We don't know. They'll check the records on that. But the units that are going to be close behind his driving pattern again is not excessive speed. He's driving in basically a safe manner as far as the speed goes, but obviously not cooperating as far as pulling over and surrendering.
And he's driving at some points on the wrong side of the road and driving in the middle of a park, and it's not exactly like he's following all the rules of the road either.
No, it's hazardous, it's dangerous, but it's not like one of these 90-mile-an-hour pursuits that we've seen in the past on some of the streets. The speed right now is probably in the 35-40-mile-an-hour range.
So he just makes his way through another intersection here, and still in the Huntington Park area, and he, let the traffic go by, thank goodness, and then he made a left turn, and you see all of those LAPD vehicles right there crammed together, but still, this guy's been able to just keep on going.
Exactly. And again, we need those vehicles there. We need them to make sure that have sufficient personnel, canine, et cetera, to take him into custody. And again, rescue the female passenger that reports that he has assaulted her within the car. How it began, how the call came out, was a 911 call, was a false observation. All that information will be part of this investigation once he's taken into custody. But how it began, they will trace that back and find out. There's obviously someone notified the police, so the police observed it. We know that as we have all those units for backup, normally you don't have that many. In this particular case, if we don't have a weapon, there's all the possibilities that go through the officer's mind. Is it just a pursuit? Is it a kidnap? Is it what is it? We don't know until it's stopped. So paramount, get the car stopped, identify the people, take them into custody. This individual, I would guess, from my years of experience, he's been to the criminal justice system in the past. This is not his first time to stay in the rodeo. He's been through this before.
He's driving on the wrong side of the road just to get past all of the backed up traffic there. He's making a left turn at this intersection. You see the trail of LAPD officers right behind him. Now, Dennis, explain to our viewers here that LAPD, they're trying to get ahead of this as best they can, so they have to have units up ahead, correct?
Well, the units up ahead, if they can deploy a spike strip, his speed would be appropriate speed to deploy a spike strip to pop the tires on the vehicle. That would be an ideal situation. But at this particular time, he's still working down the streets. They're not going to deploy on a residential street, most likely not on a commercial area. So they have to pre-deploy, know what street is going to go down, pre-deploy, get the officers in place, and get the spike strip, and then deploy that. So what they want to do, the bottom line, get them in custody. If they ran the car, they can do the head maneuver. There's another possibility. There's all kinds of possibilities, but then the officer will decide what tactic that we supervise, that we give them directions, and normally, again, we don't have that many units in a pursuit. There's normally by policy limited number. But in this particular case, we have a female hostage. We want to use extreme caution and make sure there's enough resources to take him into custody and rescue the lady who's the passenger in the car.
What's going through the mind of that first pursuing police officer who's right behind the guy? Take us through that guy's or female officer's perspective right now.
Well, the officer, hopefully there's two officers. One's broadcasting. The driving officer is concentrating on the vehicle, pursuing that vehicle in the safe distance, safe manner, safe speed, and the passenger officer is calling off the streets in coordination with the ground units to the helicopter. So they want to continually keep updated of where that individual is going. If the individual stops and bails, where we're going to set up the perimeter, what streets are we going to be on. So the street is going on now on the wrong side of the roadway. They'll be broadcasting the subject now on the wrong side of the roadway, passing down the street. So they keep informed. So hopefully you've got a driver and a passenger, with a passenger into the broadcast. If you get to a driver driving and broadcasting, that's a pretty tough position to be in. It's optimal to have two in that vehicle. Hopefully the pursuing vehicle has two.
Dennis, as we get a closer look here on the passenger side here, it looks like she's holding on. You can see her holding on to the roof of the car, and then it looks like maybe her legs up on the dashboard.
Yeah.
As we see, it looks like braking her. It looks like she's braking herself. It looks like she's braking herself with the feet on the dashboard and the hand on the roof to brake herself. maybe he's going to crash the car, and obviously there's some conversation, I would assume, between him and her. She's in the passenger seat, and seeing him on the wrong side of the roadway, driving off the road. I'm sure she's petrified to seeing this and not stopping, and the police vehicle's behind. So she's in a very awkward position and a very precarious position. Obviously, she's concerned with her safety, and she's basically the victim of this driver, and whatever he's done or plans to do or has done, she's well aware. So her concern, obviously, is to get out of that car. She's not going to jump out. That would obviously be critical for her. And she's holding on to dear life, and that's why we see why the feet and the arms out the window. They are out the window.
We did see her earlier open up the door, maybe considering the possibility of jumping out of the car, and she chose not to do that.
And that's extremely dangerous when you jump out of a moving car, especially whatever clothing you're wearing. Hit that pavement, that hot pavement. It's not very good for the body to jump out of a car, so she's using good judgment. Again, she's got to be aware that there's a number of units behind, a number of units pursuing. And looking at that moving car, it doesn't look like it's LAPD. They've got a police sign on the side. It must be another agency, not LAPD. I don't know how many LAPD units are involved in this pursuit, but in Southgate, they do have their own police agency, so I would assume that it's Southgate or one of those smaller cities. As you see the police on the door, LAPD has a small city scale, so that moving vehicle is from another jurisdiction.
So this is eastbound Firestone approaching Hunt, in fact, in Southgate, so very well could be Southgate PD trailing here. He's gone through some congested intersections, been able to just keep straight here, keep on going, and some open road here, which is a good thing considering, the unsuspecting public out at 5:45 on this Wednesday evening. We're getting to get a tighter shot here. You see her leg up on the dashboard. She's holding on to the rooftop here.
If you are just joining us, you're watching the Fox 11 News at 5 o'clock. I'm Alex Michelson with Laura Latez. Dennis Zine, our police specialist, is on the line with us as we watch a police pursuit in the Southgate area. We believe that this suspect is wanted for some sort of domestic attack on the passenger in this car. You see a female passenger, her hand, her leg right there. He's been driving wildly through the side streets. We've not seen them on the freeway as of yet. Sort of going in circles in the Southgate area. At one point, he was boxed into a fenced area, drove through the fence, drove through a park to get away from a large number of officers who continue to pursue him right now in rush hour traffic in Southgate. Dennis Zine, where to next?
Well, we're just going to continue with this. He's going to try and negotiate his way through traffic as best he can. We know she's braking herself in that car, so obviously he's concerned for her safety, not just the seatbelt. Hopefully she's wearing a seatbelt. But the reason you see that arms...
Here we go. We're going on to the freeway now. We're moving on to the freeway.
Now we get the stage train involved.
Headed on to
This is the southbound 710 from Firestone, eastbound Firestone. Now we're on southbound 710 here.
So as we go on to the freeway, it's likely that the CHP will join this pursuit. They've had some very good luck on pursuits apprehending the drivers, freeing the passengers. Well, some officers have the pursuit training, but the CHP has more officers than most agencies, and those officers are more trained to do that. And now we've got the situation on the freeway where we don't have pedestrians, we don't have cross drivers, we've got a lot of vehicles, motorcycles, etc.
And speed pickup.
Exactly, and we see her position. She's definitely braced. If you can imagine, you're in a speeding car and you're concerned for your safety, you brace yourself, which is what she's doing with her legs and her arm. To brace herself, maybe she's concerned, she could be concerned about a collision. The way this individual is driving, it would not surprise me if the individual suspect did collide with something. Because we saw what happened when he went to the park and he stepped right through the fence.
She turned around.
It's almost like she's cradled, like she's trying to protect herself, her left side, from him and get into that cradled position.
And there were reports that he was striking her while the pursuit was taking place, so I'm sure she's concerned about that, if he's striking her with his hand or a weapon or whatever the case may be. So obviously she's concerned for her safety, and rightly so. So she's bracing herself, which is what she needs to do. Hopefully she has a vehicle on, but as we see the speed picking up now, he's in a fast lane of the freeway, traveling down the freeway, and the traffic on the freeway is moving at a pretty good clip. And there we see the sheriff's helicopter overhead, so the sheriffs are doing the broadcast, the ground units, and they're all coordinating with that.
What is your advice this just makes me think, what would happen if you were ever a passenger in a pursuit, or if your car would be a victim of carjacking or a victim of something where you were sitting in a passenger seat there? What should you do?
Well, you will cooperate as much as you can. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to get hurt. You want to cooperate. Hopefully the authorities will apprehend the individual and free you. I mean, jumping out of the car is not the thing to do. This particular female victim in this particular situation doesn't have a lot of options. Your options are limited. So what you do is you just pray that the police will intervene and put this to a stop as quickly as possible. Again, you're not going to see a spike shift here. It's just going to follow, see, should be taking over shortly, and the pursuit will continue. A lot of movement here, not a lot of traffic in that particular direction. You get traffic other direction, you see a lot of cars, but you just hold on for dear life, and hopefully we'll come to the rescue. But there's not many options that you have. If you give anything to the driver, the car crashes, you don't want to do that. You don't want to jump out. So you're really victimized there, and there were not many options at your disposal.
Dennis, we want to replay those tense moments where this almost came to an end, and where he crashed through a fence at one point in a park. This was after he had gotten boxed in at the end, seemingly at the end of a dead end, but then he decided to just maneuver his way through a park. He crashed through that fence there. Fortunately, didn't seem like he hit anybody, but we did see the bike there, and we saw somebody running for cover. He continues to make his way through that park. No one was injured during that, and then he found his way back to the surface street there that was in the Southgate area. And now on the bigger, smaller screen here on your screen, that is the same driver now, southbound 710, and it looks like a little more congestion now in this particular part of the freeway.
Yes, correct. Now he's driving in what we consider the emergency lane, not a carpool lane, not a traffic lane, but the emergency lane, so we're going down to utilize that. That's what that lane is used for. So we're using that as an access lane to pass all that traffic. And we're checking when we find the gap in the path or the number one lane, we always count from the left to the right, to the carpool lane or the emergency lane, the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now we're getting off the freeway, very quick speeds here.
In the Compton area.
So now those police vehicles are going to have to negotiate over to that right shoulder and get off that freeway to keep that chase as close as possible. But again, we do have a
back onto the freeway. He got off the freeway for a second, get back on the freeway.
This is the Alondra exit on-ramp now.
There's a driver driving kind of slowly right in front of him, got backed up there. So the chopper tries to reposition.
He'll sneak his way through there.
And now he's off.
Yeah, he's making these quick moves, trying to lose the ground units, but there's enough ground units. If he loses one, then we one behind that will then take over the pursuit. So I'm looking for the CH3. They should be joining us shortly. It's their territory, free jurisdiction, so they should be sending units close by.
I'm struck by how little traffic there is at 551 on this freeway. We believe this will be onto the 91 freeway now.
I think schools are still out, and with that, we're semi-vacation time, so spring break. That might be the reason we don't have a lot of heavy traffic in this particular area this afternoon.
As we get a closer look at the car, it looks like the front end of the car may have sustained some damage, possibly when it hit into that fence. But the car seems to be still driving pretty well.
It looks like a Honda or one of those Toyota or one of those cars. It looks like.
We think it's a Honda Accord.
So eastbound 91, he finds himself, yes, in some thicker traffic. Still not too bad for, the LA area, as you were pointing out, Alex. But here he goes on the right-hand side in that number 1 lane. And there is quite a bit of distance, though. So what's the following distance that police officers should follow?
Well, reasonable and prudent. They don't want to jump around the tail, so they want to try to safe distance. If he jumps out of the car takes off, he comes out with a weapon, so they have to consider all options. So they drive at a safe distance, and they leave that particular vehicle now, the lead vehicle, behind the suspect is at a safe distance. You don't want to get right up on the bumper. You don't know what the individual is going to do, so you want to give yourself a cushion. In this particular case, we see an appropriate cushion between the suspect and the lead vehicle in this pursuit. Again, we have multiple units that are in the pursuit, and hopefully the CHP will get a surety, take over the pursuit and stays on the freeway. Traffic is not that heavy this time of the evening, but again, spring break, I think a lot of people are still out over the spring break, so that might be the reason why we don't have a lot of extensive traffic. We're constantly seeing in this region, we're a lot of traffic.
Well, he spent a lot of time on the shoulder here. At one point, it looked like he was going to get off. This is in the Long Beach area, eastbound 91 still. But he is, finding the room there on the shoulder and sticking to that just to be able to pass by everyone.
Correct. Actually, there is damage, as mentioned, to the left side of the vehicle, probably caused by the connection with the fence earlier. The car is still drivable. It doesn't appear to be any impediment from the driving. The tires are still in good shape, and whatever damage was caused is minimal. We don't know, but now we know the car belongs to the owner of that plate, and then we'll know who the driver, who the owner is, or show the car could be a suspect, or it could be a car that was borrowed or stolen, or whatever the case. And they will have that run down by now. We know exactly who owns that vehicle. The suspect still driving at speed, where they can find the gap in the traffic and speed up and accelerate. Both police units trying to do the same. Again, everything overhead, they will continue to broadcast to the ground unit, and their driver, passenger, and that lead unit will continue to inform those subsequent units.
So our technology is showing us we're now in the city of Bellflower. He's now getting off the freeway. It looks like we were on the 91 east. He's now exiting the 91 east. This is at Lakewood Boulevard in the city of Bellflower.
And he's jammed up here. You can see the pedestrians, the drivers ahead of him, see that he's coming up behind, and they're trying to, let him go by so that they don't get their own vehicle damaged. But he is boxed in here, and you see the trail of police officers right behind him.
Well, if those cars remain stopped, that could be a possibility of a takedown, but if he can snake through, he will.
He did. He got right through.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you got to feel for all these drivers who are just doing their business, probably trying to go home to their families after a long day at work, and then this pursuit kind of comes out of nowhere. And we've all been in those situations where you're driving, and then you start hearing the helicopters and seeing the sirens, and then, boom, you're in the middle of a pursuit.
Exactly. And you don't know what's going to happen at that point. Jumps out just into another car, takes off. There's all kinds of possibilities and situations that have taken place over the years. So in this particular case, we do have the passenger who's considered a victim in this particular case. We do have the driver that has handed out the car for whatever reason, and continuing to see the police down on the surface to go off the freeway.
And we're getting a little closer look at him, and it looks like he is talking to this female passenger, who, by the way, if you're just joining us, this driver here is wanted for some sort of a domestic attack on the female passenger inside this four-door sedan, and currently in the Bellflower area.
And he's communicating with her, obviously. You see he's sending them around. They'll probably have an argument.
Now they're talking. You can see it looks like they're in the middle of a verbal fight. There have been reports of a physical fight, and you can see the intensity on this guy. Looks like he may be partially balding there, yelling at this female passenger. You wonder if he's under the influence of something, but acting irrationally as he continues to drive, fairly well for a pursuit, though.
Well, it looks like he can already see his hand coming off the street. He is hand motion toward her. He's obviously upset with something, and obviously pointing at her and waving his hand. So it'll be interesting once this pursuit comes to an end, what the relationship is between him and the female passenger.
This is still northbound Lakewood, just crossed over Somerset here in Bellflower.
We know domestic violence is a continuing problem in our society, and this is a situation which can be domestic violence, which is a felony situation. So you're going to have a possible weapon. He's obviously going to go to jail once they apprehend him and render aid to the victim. But there's no excuse for domestic violence in this particular case. We see what's accelerated to whether they're married or with their girlfriend or whatever the case may be. He's obviously very upset just by his gestures, just by his movements, and we see her when she's talking to the other side of the car, actually brace to protect herself in this situation of this pursuit.
So now he's on Rosecrans Boulevard in Bellflower. He's got a pretty wide open stretch here. What is the best strategy, Dennis, for police officers at this point? And also in terms of weighing the public safety as he blows through another intersection?
Well, the concern is for the public safety paramount, but again, what we have is not just an individual fleet of police, we have an individual fleet of police with a potential victim in the car. So it was concerned about rescuing that victim, a passenger in his car. And normally, the pursuit is going to a tracking mode, the speed is excessive, driving is very hazardous. But we have a female who is suspected of being the victim of this situation. You need to maintain this pursuit to rescue her. The number one priority now is getting stop and rescue that lady. Whether she's been kidnapped or whatever situation, she's a victim of this individual. So the paramount concern is to get her to safety. You go to a tracking mode, you lose the car, who knows what's going to happen. So the paramount is getting her into custody, getting her safe away from this individual and from him to custody. So the pursuit will continue. Her safety, her concern, her welfare is paramount with officers' minds. So I'm sure we have female officers, male officers, veteran seasoned officers. The concern is the same. To rescue that lady from this individual who I would suspect has been through the criminal justice system in the past. Normally people don't do this type of activity, and he's got a passenger who we may have kidnapped. There's all kinds of possibilities we do not know. We will find that out once this individual is taken in custody, but paramount. We're concerned about the public, concerned about the cars in the road, but ultimately concerned about this person. How this whole situation started with a 911 call. So there's a concern to rescue that lady, taking him in custody.
It is now 6 o'clock. For those of you that are used to tuning in at this time for Dish Nation, we are breaking into that for this breaking news coverage of a police pursuit which is underway right now in Bellflower. We've been following for the last half hour or so. I'm Alex Michelson along with Marla Tejas. Police Specialist Dennis Zine is with us as well as we follow this Honda Accord. If you're just tuning in now, the driver of that car behind the tinted windows there is wanted for some sort of domestic incident involving a female passenger. You can see right there, the windows just came down, and it appears that the two of them are having a wild argument during this pursuit. There are reports that he may have been hitting her during the pursuit, and the pursuit had taken some wild turns. There's a car now, and one of them, including when the guy drove through a fence. And you see that there. This was from earlier. He went through a fence, was in a cul-de-sac, just kept going, went through a park, and continued to drive. And now he continues to drive a bit in the areas including South LA, Southgate, Long Beach, Bellflower, and we are now in the Bellflower area.
Eastbound Rosecrans. We've also we've seen the driver's side window down on the other side, that female passenger. We've gotten a pretty good look at her as well, and she's been cradled up essentially on her side, trying to protect herself. We understand that he may be continuing on in their heated argument there, and actually domestic abuse within the vehicle while He is being pursued by Southgate police. Dennis, any word, though, since we're now off the freeway, CHP may have gotten involved with that. Now that's not the case. So now that it's sticking with surface streets, even though it's in Bellflower, the lead agency remains Southgate police.
Southgate works with the neighboring jurisdictions. Relatively small department as far as number of personnel, so they work hand in hand. 88 cities in the county is a close connection between all those cities. So what we see happening here is the coordination of the small cities with their police agencies all working together.
Exactly. So we're now in Norwalk.
There'll be a number of close cities that will be there. And they'll continue working in a cooperative relationship. The Sheriff's Department oversees the entire county, so it wouldn't be surprised if the passenger station of the Sheriff's Patrol. But clearly they have enough units to take this individual custody and rescue the lead passenger. As we see this continuing on different roadways, a lot of traffic, some left traffic on and off the freeway. He's not going to lose the helicopter. He's not going to lose these vehicles. They're going to rescue that lady, whether he's going to cooperate or not. And once he comes to a stop, there'll be a concern about taking him into custody and also rescuing the female passenger who's in the front seat, who's gripping the roof as well as her feet from the dashboard to brace herself for the approach. You just imagine you're a passenger with the individual suspect who's driving, not cooperating, no police are chasing, you're concerned about your safety and you're going to brace yourself in case of a crash. And it would not be unlikely for this individual to crash, and we've seen him crash through the fence, causing damage to that car continually on off freeways in this behavior that is obviously trying to plead, but he's not going to get anywhere. He's just going to continue frustrating himself. And the police ultimately will apprehend him. It's just a matter of time for this time to come in.
So we're now on Rosecrans, we just passed by Pioneer Boulevard. It looks like there may be an entrance to the freeway there. Chose not to take the entrance to the freeway and is instead driving. Unfortunately, our chopper is now running out of fuel, so for the safety of our pilots, which is our paramedics, they're going to go land and try to get that fuel. We will let you know what happens to this, when we find out for the news at 10 o'clock.
We'll be right back. I'll finish writing.
At the Federal Bureau of Prisons, we not only protect lives, we help improve them too.
When we find out for the news at 10 o'clock tonight.
Yep, so the pursuit, though, by all accounts, is still underway in the Norwalk area, so if that is where you are and your loved ones, please make them aware, because this guy...
Yeah. If you're just joining us.
Coming here, our water heater burst. We can set up our children for college. I mean, this is more money than we probably ever see in our lifetime. I just feel like these walls are caving in on me. I don't know what to do. A lot of money out there. My heart is just pounding out of my chest here.
Oh man, there's currently 1,814 of you watching News Now. You came here for the police chase and you just saw that the Los Angeles Skyfox running out of fuel. They have to go refuel. When and if we get a live picture back of that chase, we'll bring it to you here on News Now. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Hope you all are having a great Wednesday night, April 20th.
Rhonda. When am I watching?
A lot of people who call Empire today want to know what kind of carpet can you get installed next day. Truth is, it's as good or better than the stores. With Empire, you choose from quality brand names right in your home. And yes, Empire really does install next day. And no, that doesn't cost extra. In fact, you'll save with Warehouse Direct prices, plus no payments till 2007. Call Empire today. You'll see.
800-588-2300 Empire. Today.
It's easy to find carpet with the look and feel you want. Just call Empire today. We'll bring a great selection of quality brand name carpets you can choose right at home, where it's easier to compare all the colors and textures and find what best matches your rooms. You even save with Warehouse Direct prices. Plus, no payments till 2007. And we install next day.
It's easy to save on quality carpet when you shop at home with Empire today.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today.
Square can help your business be everywhere at once, with tools that all connect together.
Thanks for... I'll be right back.
A woman I first met in a jail cell, a 20-something stripper girl caught up with the biggest mob and buried treasure and maybe murder. She was sentenced to life in prison then.
We'll be able.
So there she was, a traffic wishing line coming into Where to begin? Well, of course, the event they call the Night of the Silver Heist.
It's 9:04.
8 o'clock now?
Yep, Dateline starts now. Mom.
Okay.
So starts now. We're gonna continue. We're back now. Let's listen. Let's listen. Let's listen now. You want me to you do nothing. You have me.
Instead, Howard got on his radio and called Deputy Dean Hunt for backup.
We just felt like when he said orders that he thought that we would like back up a little bit and say, oh, okay, not investigated anymore.
We're not going anywhere. And so the crew boss, a guy named Rick Tavish, came over and told them a whole new story. Tavish said he and a couple of guys were waiting there to haul away old concrete papers and events of the law. That's why he brought along a giant gravel trailer called a belly dump.
Yeah. What happened? Did you know? This is not what I've been reading. My God. Oh my. We're back now. Listen.
Alright everybody, we just have you let you know that they are back live with the chase, and we've got it for you here. We have learned that the suspect is now in Anaheim, California, and we are hearing that the woman passenger may be incapacitated. I think we have Fox LA's coverage back. I'm going to bring up the audio for you right now.
Of this pursuit in the last hour at one point. Of course, we've seen multiple near misses and also going through a park and running through a fence.
Yeah, we'll show you that video. This was the most dramatic moment of the pursuit so far. You see the guy basically stuck, comes up near a fence, so he decided to drive right through it. You see it potentially damaged. It looks like the left side of the vehicle a bit. The bike was left behind. The guy just kept driving, went through a park, park where some people were. At that point, he's driven on the sidewalk at some point, nearly missing several trees, nearly missing people. Thankfully, so far, we do not believe. Now this guy's driving on the wrong side of the road. This is where things can get really dangerous here. Driving quickly on the wrong side of the road. Looks like he's got some empty road here as he approaches an intersection in the Garden Grove area. This person has been driving recklessly throughout the last hour.
Sure, and gone through several cities. I mentioned it started in Southgate. We've seen him go through Long Beach, Bellflower. We last left you just after 6 o'clock this evening in Norwalk, and now in the Garden Grove area after going through Anaheim. So here we are in Garden Grove. He has this area, this roadway, pretty much to himself, which that's good news at this point, so that everyone else can stay safe. But you saw on the other side of the road there, you saw a police officer posted up there waiting for him. So they are strategizing as to how to, as he comes up to this intersection, he's blocked in there, he's going to maneuver around and then pick up speed. So they are strategizing as to how to bring this driver into custody, and then more importantly, to get her, the female passenger, into custody and away from him and into safety.
We have not so far, speaking of police strategy, seen any attempts at a spike strip or any attempts at a pit maneuver. So far, police have just sort of let this guy drive wildly through the roads and get pretty close to him. Sometimes you see police enter what's called tracking mode, which is where they back off and let the helicopter really follow the guy without keeping the cop cars too close. That has not been the case here. And the fact that this female passenger may be in danger may be one of the reasons why police are staying closer to that vehicle.
So this is southbound Brookhurst as he continues on. Brookhurst here, the most recent intersection was Orangewood. And, you know, the speeds are slow at this point because he can't go that fast because of all the traffic in this area as he's approaching another intersection, it looks like, and he is stopped, but always figures out a way to maneuver around these unsuspecting drivers who are just trying to get through the rest of their Wednesday evening. Yeah, he boxed in.
And so the police going to use this opportunity. Here's a moment where they could do something. The police approaching, wait, this light's probably about to turn.
Definitely now realizing that he may be at a dead end here.
So what do police do here? Here's an opportunity to do something. Does the female passenger try to get out of the vehicle here? No. Police now driving on the wrong side of the road. They're going to try to get more aggressive here following this car.
So you saw him there stuck in traffic. He managed to weasel his way out. We've seen that multiple times, but that was the closest that we've ever seen it come to an end within the midst of traffic here. South Brookhurst.
I mean, from a driving perspective, this guy has kind of amazingly been able to get out of a lot of precarious situations, including, a dead end, a cul-de-sac, a field, other things, and just able to sort of keep driving, keep moving, and not be caught so far.
And in fact, we had to go off the air, as Alex alluded to earlier, because of the fact that our chopper had to refuel. So you wonder how much fuel this four-door sedan has, because again, this has been going for well over an hour.
So we continue to drive on, and now in Orange County. This is a pursuit that's gone through LA County, now into Orange County. This domestic violence suspect pursuit continues. Earlier we saw the female passenger waving her hands outside of the vehicle, looked like she was bracing herself. We don't know if she has been in communication with law enforcement at all.
Wrong side of the road here. This is westbound Westminster, making that right turn from Brookhurst. And all of those drivers there, unfortunately, didn't get caught up in an accident, flew through that intersection back to where he's supposed to be on the right-hand side of the road. But again, desperate times call for desperate measures, as they say.
And yet police continue to allow this guy to drive on. Worried about her safety, the safety of that female passenger, worried about their own safety, and of course having to worry about the safety of all of the drivers, unsuspecting drivers coming out, probably coming home. County, now encountering a pursuit driving through their neighborhood. So at last check, we were in Stanton, back in Stanton. It drives around several different Orange County neighborhoods. Now, Garden Grove, my apologies for that.
Garden Grove seemed to pick up speed here, having just turned off of westbound Westminster from Brookhurst here, and you can see the officers trailing them, as we've seen all evening now, approaching this four-way stop.
We are bringing our coverage now. Dennis Zine, who was joining us a little earlier on Fox 11 News at 5. He's a former LAPD officer involved in the pursuits himself, also a former member of the LCD Council. He's our police specialist. Dennis, bring us up to speed in terms of what you're seeing as somebody who knows police tactics. Now we're more than an hour into this. Where the mindset of the officers at?
Well, they're obviously calmed down. The adrenaline is now back to normal because they've been involved in this for an extended period of time. They're continuing to pursue again the concern of the passenger, the victim, who we believe there's domestic violence involved. So concerned rescuing her from this individual, bringing this car to a stop. He's obviously negotiating turns up and down through the surface streets, business areas, freeways, etc. This has been going on for, as you say, over an hour. The units are continuing with this pursuit. We lost them for a little bit. We captured, through the assistance of the helicopter. The helicopter is a valuable tool to keep observation of the individual, the vehicle, the suspects, the victim, etc. So we're just going to continue with this, and thank goodness that Skyfox got some fuel and we're back up on operating, so we're back basically where we left off. Still pursuing the vehicle, trying to rescue the passenger and the driver taken into custody.
Last check here, southbound Magnolia from Westminster. It looks like a residential area. So talk about that, Dennis, if you could. We've seen it go through, of course, at this point in the last hour, residential areas, industrial areas. And no matter where it is, though, it seems to be heavy traffic as near miss.
For this type of activity, in addition to what happened, and if there's any harm, injury to the victim, who knows the passenger in this vehicle, I believe she is bracing herself with her feet on the dashboard to protect herself from an impending collision. And you can imagine the passenger in the car, all the domestic violence, and now she gets to start driving, and they're concerned about your safety. They're concerned about staying alive and not to have it.
To the point that throughout this hour-plus pursuit, we haven't seen one attempt at a pit maneuver or spike strips. Is that unusual?
Well, again, we've got the concern about the passenger. We've got a passenger who's a CM, domestic violence. You see the suspect striking her in the car during this pursuit. So, there's violence involved. She's a victim, and there's also a concern about her safety. The spike strip, there could be hazard. When you do the pit maneuver, there could be hazard. So they're trying to bring us to a peaceful end. They've got a lot of restraint. As we see, they've had a lot of patience, a lot of restraint. Other than that one crash through the fence, I don't think there's been any collisions. So all the look on this individual's part is the end of influence. We don't know, but there's all those factors that go through. And by this time, the watch commanders involved, probably the captains involved, probably the chiefs involved in each jurisdiction to make sure this is done in a proper fashion and they follow the letter to the T. Again, you've got broadcasts on the local stations, people are watching, they're going to be critiquing, criticizing. So there's a lot of concern. The bottom line is, police are here to protect and serve. They need to rescue that lady. Rescue her in the number one priority, secondary taking into custody and incarcerating.
Now our Skyfox technology showing that he has entered the Fountain Valley area.
We're on Newland Street right now.
Police
driving 60 miles an hour at some point on the side streets, which is dangerous, as we know.
Welcome back.
You got bikers and other factors. Does he have a weapon? Does he have a gun? Does he have a knife? Does he have other weapons? Is he sold? So all these factors go through his officers. Ultimately, rescue her, apprehend him, take him to jail, down the car, bring us to an end, and go back to a normal, peaceful community that we hopefully will regain as soon as this thing comes to an end, as soon as the pursuit comes to an end. But it's been going on for over an hour.
And we can add another community that has now been impacted by this. We are now in the Orange County city of Huntington Beach. We are on Newland Street, headed through Huntington Beach as this suspect continues, and once again driving on the wrong side of the road, now making a turn, and police sticking right behind him as he does so.
And you'll see other agencies jump in and jump out as they go through other communities through this region of Southern California. There's 88 cities within LA County. Most of those cities either contract with the sheriff's and different departments. So you've got a lot of police disposal. But in this particular case, we see at least 6 or 7 units that are following sufficient units to put this to an end. But again, extreme caution because of the passenger. And we don't know if there's anyone in the back seat. I mean, there's so many concerns that go through these officers, and if there's one mistake, if there's one error, there's great criticism. But just think about you as a police officer in the vehicle chasing an individual who's got a woman who's
from Beach Boulevard and the main thoroughfare there. Now picking up speed once again in this residential area, it looks like here, so you bring up a good point. Kids could be playing out. It's a nice evening, 6:43, still plenty of daylight left. And here he goes. Carries on his rampage here now on England Street in Huntington Beach.
And Huntington Beach has a lot of narrow streets. It's a wealthy community, a lot of narrow streets in that particular area. Most of the beach cities have narrow streets, and there was additional hazard because of people getting out of cars, getting in cars.
I will have my business
front yards at bicycles, etc. A lot of hazards on the freeway.
And also just to, if he's running traffic guide, his left turns and right turns, and there he goes.
Right, he has no idea where he is. He's driving, and he finds an open path. He takes that path. He's already goes through it. It doesn't matter. He sees police cars stationed in different locations. They're not part of the pursuit, but they're there for backup to keep the traffic from colliding with this individual who was disregard for property, traffic lights, traffic lights, etc. How much gas in the vehicle, but eventually he kept nothing out. Everything else was on the gas.
Well, and we've seen evidence of domestic issues, even just from our live picture. What seemed to be a very intense argument that may have been a physical argument happening during this pursuit. So we are now in the Huntington Beach area. I wonder if we're going to approach the beach as he continues to drive. And as you mentioned, I mean, it's such different communities that are all very different in their makeup, their demographic makeup, and what the communities are all about, from Huntington Beach to Southgate to Bellflower to Long Beach to Fountain Valley to Stanton to Anaheim. This guy has been all over Southern California.
He's in a southern part of the region, and he has probably no idea where he's going. He just finds an open path and takes that path. But as he travels through these different communities, he's picking up officers of all these communities, and every jurisdiction has police protection, so people are watching us. The police are aware. You've got that lead unit. That lead unit will maintain control until they can no longer maintain control. They've got problems. You got secondary units. You got other units that are there. But paramount is to have that other unit, and the sheriff's department has the other unit. A lot of small jurisdictions do not have their units. LAPD has a number of sheriff's departments, but they all have their unit. Orange County has their units, but you don't have every single police department with their unit, which is extremely expensive. But fortunately, the sheriff's department does share within the county.
What do you know? Police chases you. Are they ready to see under
situation.
As soon as he finds traffic, he tries to avoid that, and that's what's happening here. He finds traffic, so he finds another
U-turn, going back through the streets, and the police stay right on him.
So our last immediate intersection was Elsa Avenue in Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. Approaching this new intersection here, he stops and lets traffic go by. He's now going to go through it, as we've seen him do countless times over another minute. In the 90 minutes that we've been covering this pursuit that started in Southgate, here it looks like he's stopping in the middle of the street.
I'll pick it back up. That window's down. And as he gesturing at the police, is he gesturing at the choppers? Who's he gesturing at?
So this is Talbot Avenue Beach Boulevard now.
Interesting gestures.
It looks like windows back up though.
And those windows, by the way, having windows that are that tinted, that's illegal, right?
So you can't have the fronts, the driver, the passenger that can't be tinted, windows to the rear, the side windows that are in the rear, but you can tint those other windows. It's illegal to tint those. I noticed the windows down now up again, so very bizarre. No, tinted windows for the most part, the driver, passenger, and the windshield, those are illegal to tint. Now, some states permit it. California does not permit it. It's very hazardous for an officer to approach a vehicle with tinted windows. You can't see inside that vehicle. It depends on how dark the tint is. But the fact is, if you can't see the hands of the individual driving the passengers, that intensifies that hazard to the police officer as they approach a vehicle. This particular case, we know the suspect's wanted, and there's one for felonies, and there's one for domestic violence. So he's locking up the family charges one by one. So he'll be booked and have a very, very high bail once they take him into custody, and hopefully that'll happen soon, as we see him driving not enough fast now at this particular moment. But those units are obviously settled in, the watch commanders are aware, sure the captains of these small cities, the chiefs are aware. You have a private police car following. If he decided to jump out, there'll be a number of officers, including K-9, that'll take him into custody. So there's an army of officers that are ready to take him into custody in a safe, cautious manner, and take him to custody, take him to jail, and eliminate to the victim, and that's the female victim who's the passenger in the right front seat.
So Gothard Street and Slater Avenue, we know this is a domestic violence suspect in this pursuit to the last 9 minutes. You see his hand out, and yes, gesturing again. What we don't know, obviously we know this guy's very dangerous, but then we don't know, and he brought this up, is he armed?
Right, and we don't know once he stopped, does he have a weapon? It's very possible. Did he kidnap this lady? Is it his domestic partner? Is it his wife? There's obviously a lady in the car, domestic violence. So there's a variety of factors that are possible. The variety, we won't know until that car stops and he's taken into custody and see the victim. And I'm sure she's very, very concerned for her safety and fearful. Probably as comfortable to know that the police are following, that the police are there to help her, and once it's comfortable, then that's exactly what they'll do. But until that point, I'm sure she's in great fear. Seeing his driving patterns with matching in the front seat, and this individual driving this wild, dangerous fashion, you're going to brace yourself, because there's speculation why was he on the dashboard, why was he holding on to the roof? Well, just imagine an individual driving in a manner that is very unsafe. You're concerned for your safety, and you want to brace yourself. Hopefully you want a seatbelt. But again, the concern for this is people say, well, why don't we just go into a traffic mode? We've been in this for over an hour, around 90 minutes. Why don't we just go to a traffic mode? When we go in a traffic mode, we lose the suspect, we lose the car, and God forbid something happens to her. And then who are you going to complain about? You have him. You were watching it. Why'd you let go?
He's now pulling into the parking lot here, and he makes his way through that parking lot successfully, down that alleyway here. He will make a left or right onto the side street in Huntington Beach.
Like so many homes, and when you think at this point, all the different communities in our market that have now been a part of this, gets them out of that van, all the different communities that have now heard the sirens or seen the choppers move through their communities throughout Orange County and Los Angeles County now, has continued this pursuit in Orange County. And they got
pursuit, so don't play here, just avoid this, stay out of the way. If you're coming down the street, don't just out in front of the car and play here, because it's likely to get another one of the suspects. It's not worth it. We'll get to everything eventually, and it's just going to take some time. Again, we got the air units, we got ground units, and they will maintain this. They're not going to give up. It's not the barricaded suspect where they're confining. This individual is not confined. This individual is only where he wants. That's exactly what he's doing, from one county to the other, one city to the other. Probably doesn't know these areas, just driving away, so he's trying to find who's the police. Well, if he gets out that window and looks up in the sky, there's a big helicopter over there. That helicopter is going everywhere. In addition to all the news channels that are over there, we've got Sky Fox interface with the law enforcement authorities with behavior. They all communicate together. So if we need assistance, there's assistance. If we need another facility, there's another facility. So it's well coordinated. Fox is pilot. They know what to do. They've done this many times. You've got a number of news outlets.
All right, everybody, good evening. Similar areas with Fox News Now, which is Fox10Phoenix.com. We've been watching our sister station, Fox 11 Los Angeles' coverage of this police chase. We're hearing it's a domestic violence suspect that's been going on for more than 90 minutes. So long that Sky Fox had to leave, go refuel, and was able to come back. Now, we're just minutes away from Fox 10 Extra News at 7, Channel 45, Cable 9. If you'd like to watch the hour-long newscast, just head over to Fox10Phoenix.com/live. Please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, everybody you know to all what's going on. We're going to continue to listen in to KCTV now.
And the car is shuttled back. They just okay the broadcasting location. Everybody's calmed down. After this length of time, it's become very routine. Going through this intersection, we've got this intersection block. What they're waiting for is if he bails from the car, they have sufficient units, and I'm sure there's a canine in that pursuit that will then take him into custody as quickly as possible. So he's just wrapping up the charge one by one, all the illegal actions he's making. And again, the stations are tape recording this, the police stations, the different jurisdictions. So I'm just a watch around and sitting back watching this as it goes by and experience.
Here we go, going on to the freeway again.
22 freeway from Beach Boulevard.
And the Chippies were anticipated to take over at one point. They may still be in the vicinity. They were going to take it over, but then he got off the freeway. He was out for a period of time. So we'll see if that takes place. Once they get in, they normally don't relinquish the pursuit. These other agencies continue.
Westbound 22 freeway from Beach Boulevard in Huntington Beach. You have the wider side here, so you're seeing multiple units tracking him now as he picks up speed, of course, on the freeway where traffic doesn't seem to be too much of a problem just yet now as we approach the 7 o'clock hour on this Wednesday evening. It is pretty incredible that we picked this pursuit up about 5:25 during Fox 11 News at 5 o'clock this evening. We stuck with it until our chopper ran out of fuel. Just after 6 o'clock this evening, we were able to get back on the air after refueling about 6:25 this evening. So now here we are again now, as I said, approaching 7 p.m. and westbound 22 looks pretty good for a Wednesday night. Not all traffic.
And you wonder about fuel also for the police cars, because they were arriving pretty, with him every step of the way. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of them, and they can replace them. But it seems like a lot of cars have been going. And now, is that highway patrol this now joining in?
I didn't see that, but it would surprise me if they did. I'm sure they're monitoring and waiting for the
suspect here.
And he's not alone. He has a female passenger in that four-door sedan with him. This started about 5:25 roughly in the Southgate area. We've seen him evade officers for more than 90 minutes now, going, as I said, started in Southgate, going through Bellflower, Long Beach, Norwalk, Garden Grove, Anaheim, Huntington Beach last, getting down the 22 westbound here, where it's been pretty good in terms of traffic for him, and then also for the unsuspecting drivers who don't realize that the pursuit is underway. And this guy, Dennis, we know he's dangerous, wanted for a domestic violence attack, and we've seen him violently acting in this pursuit time, but we don't know if he's armed.
Correct. Well, we know that we've seen from the air unit view, we've seen him striking the female passenger. We do not know the relationship. The ground units may know that by now from the investigation that they're following up on the vehicle and the individual, whatever prompted initiated the call. So they're determining that. But what we have seen, and our viewers have seen, him striking her within that car. So we know the initial situation was domestic violence. Obviously, he's not stopping, he's not letting her out of the vehicle. There's obviously concern for her safety. So, again, people ask, why didn't you terminate this pursuit, go to a tracking mode? Because we need to investigate.
5 here. So how does strategy change for CHP officers?
Well, they're very aggressive when it comes to pursuits. In my experience, with over 50 years of LAPD experience. CHP is very aggressive in pursuits. They want to bring it to an end to avoid any kind of collision, any kind of injury, any kind of damage. They're very aggressive. They want to put this to an end quickly. So they will continue with this as long as possible. And again, we've got a unit. CHP has their unit, not the air unit from the CHP's over this yet, but we know that the Sheriff's Department has been involved in it. So the CHP will do what they need to do to bring it to an end. There's, I believe, more than one CHP unit. And they've been preparing for this because they knew it was on the freeway, on and off the freeway. So now you'll see them maintain jurisdiction on this. And again, the CHP can go anywhere in the state of California, all roads, all codes. So you'll see them hopefully bring this to an end as quickly as possible. They're very aggressive in their pursuit techniques.
And the CHP from Santa Fe Springs just tweeted to me saying hopefully we'll be able to end this pursuit safely and soon. So that would give you an indication that they may be involved with this as well. We thank them for being in control.
Just passing the Catella Avenue exit in Los Alamitos.
It looks like the window is closed at this point.
Yes, yes. And compliments to the Sky Fox that's overhead that's following us for a long period of time. Other than the fuel they have to pick up, they've been on this from the beginning. So obviously great work by the crew up above watching and giving us that view that we can see down the ground.
So this car continues to move on.
When
it went through a fence, which happened maybe an hour, 15 minutes ago. It would look like it may have sustained some damage on the left side of the vehicle, but it continues to move pretty well. Now going close to 70 miles an hour on the 605 freeway in Long Beach.
We know that there's damage to the fender, the left front fender, and that I believe was from when he went through the fence. Collided with the fence and just tore the fence off, and I think that.
All right, everybody, friendly reminder that I'm about to go live on Fox 10 Extra News, which is channel 45, cable 9. We're going to continue to stay on the chase. I'm going to cover the chase. I just want to let you all know that I am just moments away from going live. I'm getting ready here, matter of fact. I might be able to have me plus the chase going on in the background at the same time. I'm still here with you. We're still watching live, everybody, but we had to cut the audio from them. I think I got it. I think we're good to go. Whether or not we're going to screen. Yeah, good evening, Mark and Christina. You can see the pursuit going on the bottom right-hand side. I'm going to take you in full now to Los Angeles' Sky Fox. And I do have to say, viewer discretion is advised. This has been going on for quite some time, and we never know exactly what can happen in situations like this. So we're hoping civilians, we're hoping police, and we're hoping the suspect, as well as the passenger, are going to be A-OK when this all comes to an end. But again, police are in pursuit of a suspect in an alleged domestic assault that began in the Southgate area tonight. The man appeared to have been striking the female passenger during the chase, which at times has traveled on surface streets in various cities across Los Angeles County, Orange County, and as you can see right now, on freeways as well. It's been going on for more than an hour, just so you said. Matter of fact, 90 minutes at last check. Fox Los Angeles' Sky Fox was even able to stop following it, go refuel, and find the suspect yet again. He drove through a park and even slammed into a fence. So we're going to continue to monitor the situation. Please join us by going to youtube.com/Fox10Phoenix in order to see the outcome. Again, we're hoping that everybody will be okay. Back to you.
Particular vehicle, have they contacted registered owner? Was it a stolen car? Is this the owner of the car? Is this a domestic live-in situation? So they're doing a preliminary investigation as this pursuit continues. So they'll have an idea when they take him into custody. Is he next con? Does he have weapons? Does he carry weapons? Does he get arrested for this, that, or the other? They're going to find this out and alert the ground warrant for various charges. He's been arrested. He's done time. They may have all that information. There's a concern. What threats he made, if they have threats against the victim, the female victim, all the situation that's come about, they're going to have communications from the other agencies. So right now, just a pursuit at 70 plus miles per hour. He's driving traffic light. They're behind. They're following a safe distance. They're not employing any unusual technique at this particular time. Again, they are fresh to this pursuit. The units that have been pursuing all this time for an hour and a half. There's fatigue that sets in. Now you have fresh units that are pursuing the California Patrol. So a different view, a different perspective. They're not being aggressive with him. They're giving him the space. They got overhead, giving the information on the location. Again, he's traveling at 70 miles an hour on a lightly traveled freeway at this particular time. So
now in Norwalk.
And as we see the traffic, the later the hour, the less traffic. So he's on a freeway that does not have a lot of traffic. And that's why he's continuing with that speed and the fast lane of traffic. He's in the carpool. I think he's in the number 1 lane. Not the carpool, he's in the number 1 lane. The carpool is to the left, so he's in the number 1 lane.
It's really lucky with the lack of traffic for so many different communities. Likely, as you mentioned, Dennis, driving sort of randomly wherever he goes, he really has not run into a ton of traffic in the middle of rush hour through so many Southern California communities.
We'll make a move here to Office 605, correct?
There we go. We're getting moving to the right.
We're now moving off of the freeway in the city of Norwalk. Or is this a connection to another freeway? That's what we're going to have to see here.
Our technology shows 605 North Foster Road and Barrett Avenue in Norwalk. Again, wide open. To your point, Alex, there's no traffic there. And you see the trailing CHP officers right behind them.
Looks like you may be transitioning to another freeway.
Possibly approach, but then you can do the 405, but don't tend to the options that driving will have suspect along the way. Well, again, the traffic is extremely light.
And as we know, when you get around to LAX, no matter what the time, no matter what the day, traffic is never extremely light. So that is one place where you could run into some congestion at this hour.
That's also the one place where our helicopter choppers in general have to back off because of the TMR.
Yeah, meaning a total flight restriction. This guy continues to... Is there ever a thought of a pin maneuver on the freeway, or is that just deemed so dangerous that it's sort of out of the picture?
Dennis, personally, what do you make of this pursuit? You've covered so many. And in fact, it's been going on for this long, and he's been able to evade officers for this long. And the fact that there's a female domestic violence suspect inside this vehicle, are you surprised it's gone on this long?
I'm surprised it hasn't come to a stop by his action or on the surface street doing something. But again, most of the time you've got a suspect. You don't have a domestic violence victim with that suspect. If it's just a suspect, you want to bring that to an end as quickly as possible. But you've got the concern about safety and caution for the female victim. That female victim, she may be pregnant. We don't know. There's so many possibilities you can come up with. You don't want to create an issue that could harm her if she's pregnant. All those factors come into play. So you've got to use extreme caution. You want to take them into custody in a safe manner. These officers have a lot on their minds, a lot of concern. They're wearing body cams for the most part. I don't think the CHP's gone to it yet, but everything will be recorded. So you want to make sure that you do everything in a reasonable, proper fashion, because people are going to second guess. The administration is going to second guess. Why do this? Why did you do that? Well, because ultimately concerned about the safety of the passenger. We want to make sure we can rescue her. We don't want to harm her. The whole issue is to rescue that lady. That lady is a victim, and you've got to rescue her. In addition to apprehending the suspect, taking him into custody. So you've got two factors that come into play. Ultimately, the police are there to rescue people, to save people, and to protect people. So you don't want to do something that's going to cause harm, undue harm to the lady.
Now, some congestion now, westbound 105 in the Linwood area, as we've seen him do before when he hit congestion on the freeway. He's used the shoulders to get by the drivers there, westbound 105. And it's, is he going to take this off-ramp here?
He's got to make a decision on which way to go here. We're now
do everything to avoid that traffic, everything you can to avoid.
Now driving on near the shoulder there, and continuing to drive on. We are in Linwood, we were in Paramount just a moment ago. As we're driving, you can see his speeds are really slowing down as he hits finally some of the congestion that you would usually see in the evening on so many Southern California freeways. You have to wonder what the conversation has been like between this suspect and this victim sitting in the front seat. What exactly he was saying to her when he was clearly seemed to be yelling at her, and what is going through her mind as this pursuit now stretches past an hour and a half.
Well, I think she just wants to be rescued and get away from this individual. When he was floating his arms in her motion, was probably striking the lady, which was obviously concerned for her safety. So they both have concerns, obviously, both of them have concerns. And if these have concerns about ending this peacefully.
We're getting a good look at him now as we get a tight shot here, his windows down. He's putting his hand out, gesturing out he's waiting, and what he's trying to do with authorities.
What is that about? This weird thing where he puts the window down, makes some sort of motion, and then puts it back up. We've seen that multiple times now.
Well, it's unusual to do, but he may be making a gesture toward the police, fire patrol, toward law enforcement. That might be the case. Not a positive gesture, but that might be the issue. Gesturing toward them. Because obviously he doesn't care. He's disregarding everything that is reasonable and prudent, including pulling over, stopping, and got emergency vehicles behind you with the red light and siren.
So also on the side of Woodward Avenue in Linwood, it's hard to get a look at the scenery here because it's such a tight shot, but he's approaching the off-ramp where it is backed up. So you see this before, and he makes his way through every time.
There are units that are ready for him, and it looks like they're going to get a little more aggressive in pursuing him. Will they use a pick and move here? Do they have room here? It looks like a pretty narrow street, but it looks like these officers are acting more aggressively than we have seen.
There we go.
Approaching another intersection here, and he's getting some distance from the police once again. It looked like it was Highway Patrol that was waiting right off the freeway, ready for him. And now we're going back into another drive-through. This looks like this may be a McDonald's drive-through, going against the traffic, against the way of the drive-through, and using that as a buffer to try to get away from police. And now a U-turn, going against traffic in the wrong direction and through another intersection. This seems to be one of his MOs, and he's used it fairly successfully, not to completely get away from police, obviously, but to get some distance from police, to drive through these drive-through. We saw one earlier at a Wiener Schnitzel. We've seen a few different parking lots be used for that purpose.
Well, we know that CHP officer was pre-deployed to that off-ramp to take over that and maybe bring it to an end. But again, we're still following now an hour and a half into this.
No, in fact, I'm just going to point this out. We're almost to 2 hours into this because we went on the air about 5:25 with this pursuit during the Fox 11 5 o'clock news.
And it started around 5 o'clock?
About 5:25 is when we picked it up, so it started even before that. So, yes, we're officially, I would say, 2 hours. I think it's safe to say 2 hours into this pursuit that started in Southgate.
Right. And now we're near LAX, I understand?
This is still the Linwood area. Last major intersection was Imperial Highway and Long Beach Boulevard.
And the streets here are pretty narrow, which would make the possibility of doing some sort of pit maneuver, you would think, almost impossible because of all the cars that are parked nearby. And so they just sort of have to keep going and keep trailing this guy. Not a whole lot of options for police, even though the CHP officers are getting pretty close behind him.
Right. Well, they want to bring it to an end, but they got obviously concerned about her safety, the passenger, as well as other people in that particular vicinity. So they're close behind. The speed is not excessive. Just continuing like a parade on these different streets, these different communities in Southern California. This is one of the longest we've been on. And the concern on this, obviously, is you've got a victim that's a passenger in the right front seat. And they want to rescue her from this individual and get them away from each other as quickly as possible.
So why, when we're on this road here and he's not driving fast or erratically, so why isn't a pit maneuver now? Why don't they gain speed and traction? And
they could. I don't want to second guess them. The concern maybe be for the passenger. If it was just him, I'm sure they would do that. This would be an ideal location because you've got a clear roadway, put the car out of service. But it might be because of the victim and their supervisors that are giving advice along the way. Might be the concern about her safety, and that pit maneuver they may think is just too hazardous. They may do a spike strip. This would be a location they could deploy a spike strip, bring it to an end that way at slow speed. The spike strip works very well, popping those tires. Sometimes they drive on flat tires and they go down the rim, and then a car comes to a stop. Excuse me, but I think that what we see happening is the CHP, now they're on the surface street following. They're not going to relinquish this. They'll continue with this and with the other agencies following and assisting.
Gosh, we all feel so for the victim inside, this female passenger who's enduring everything else that's going on, and he can only be getting more and more irate, I would suspect, as this pursuit goes on, because he knows that it's not going to be long. Eventually, he will be taken into custody.
That's exactly it. And all this will be played back. They're recording it. They'll play it back. And he wants to go to court and plead not guilty and see what the judge or jury says about this with the other charges that will be filed against this individual, who I would imagine has been a victim of the criminal justice system in the past.
Yeah, what we don't know is who this woman is, what is the nature of their relationship, how she ended up in the car in the first place, what is being said between them. I mean, there are so many questions about all of that, which, we hope to have answered after, hopefully, this comes to a safe conclusion, and she is taken away from this situation safely.
And one of those, we do want to replay one of those really tense moments, and here it is on what happened earlier in the last hour when he just ran through a park and he plows through a fence there. He was able to get away. We thought that was going to come to an end then because he was at what we thought was a dead end, but then he made his way through the park, and there were plenty of people out enjoying the Wednesday evening there in this particular park. And he was able to get right back on the surface streets, and here we are another hour later, and now still in the Linwood area.
Well, it is frustrating for the officers. It's frustrating for the general public. And the public looks at this and says the time, the cost, the energy being expended on this one individual. But again, you've got a female who's a victim of domestic violence. That cannot be ignored. That's of paramount significance and importance. And protect and serve, that means rescue this lady from this suspect and bring her to safety and incarcerate the individual in a professional manner. That's what they're paid to do. That's what they're going to do ultimately.
Yeah, the question is, of course, how does this end, which is why so many people watch Pursuits. And that is the big question. So, and a door just opened up. The door on the passenger side opened up for a moment. We've seen that happen before. It looks like it closed again, and the woman did not get out of the car. The car now slowing down here, possibly because of traffic. So in about a minute, we are going to be going off the air on TV to bring you back to regularly scheduled programming. But if you're interested in continuing,
door opening again, and you wonder if she's going to jump out. You can see he's got a hold on her.
Oh no! Wow! He's grabbing her, preventing her from leaving the vehicle.
Her legs are still up there, it looks like, on the dashboard, as we've seen it before, and she's just been trying to protect herself. We've seen that multiple times.
Oh, this is dangerous now.
Yeah, this is.
He's not letting her go.
This is perhaps the most dangerous moment of the pursuit that we have seen so far. So we want to let you know that
We're going to pick up our coverage on our Fox 11 Facebook page, so please join us there. As we've been.
Yeah, Fox 11 Los Angeles is the Facebook page, and foxla.com/live as well. We have live coverage there.
All right, that's going to conclude our coverage. We will return you to regularly scheduled programming as this pursuit continues on in Linwood. We appreciate you taking the time to stick with Fox 11 for the latest on this pursuit that started more than 2 hours ago in the Southgate area. Please join us on Facebook.
And we will see you for more TV tonight at 10 o'clock.
This has been a Fox 11 News.
All right, everybody, good evening. Pilar Arias here with you. I think they made the switch to Facebook. We should be good to listen in again. Let's hear if we can still see anything. I mean, let's hear if we can still hear anything. All right, so they still have the police chase on Facebook. No audio, though. That's A-OK. That's what I'm here for. Again, my name is Pilar Arias. I am a host of News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. You heard exactly what was going on here. This has been going on for more than 2 hours, and you saw the passenger door open a couple times. The woman who is in that passenger seat has tried to say, I'm done with this. Please let me out. Let me get some help from police. Let me talk things through. And the suspect, which we're told is a domestic assault suspect, said nope and pulled her right back into the vehicle. 2 hours into this, California Highway Patrol, CHP officers still trailing extremely closely. And I've been told that they have been given the authority to pull a pit maneuver when they are able to, when they see an opportunity. You've seen this suspect here drive into a couple different fast food parking lots.
Southern California. Are we up here on the Facebook page? I'm Christine Devine joining Alex Michelson. Alex and Marla just got off the Fox 11 News in what may be the longest pursuit we've seen in a long time.
It's amazing that this car is still going. We're now more than 2 hours into this pursuit. If you're
You looking for our coverage here on the Facebook Live? Yes. Alex and Marla have just wrapped things up on Fox 11 after joining this pursuit during the 5 o'clock newscast. I was out at an event and made my way here to LA, so I'll be taking over for Marla. Alex, you're going to have to bring me up to speed just a little bit, because I came into set and you were on this pursuit talking about a driver and a passenger who might be the victim of domestic violence.
Yeah, a very dramatic moment just happened a few minutes ago. There is a female passenger who we believe to be a domestic violence victim, and it appeared that she opened up the door, which was not the first time that she's opened up the door, and was trying to get out of the car, and it appeared that that suspect was holding her back, physically making sure that she did not get out of the car, which is a scary situation. Throughout this pursuit over the last 2 hours, we have seen this suspect screaming at this woman. We've seen some what appeared to be some physical violence during this, and now so you have to feel for this woman. What we don't know, Christine, is we do not know the relationship between this suspect and this passenger. We don't know how she ended up in this car in the first place. So, and we don't know the name of the suspect.
Let me ask you this question. So you've been saying or posting that it's a possible domestic violence situation.
Yes.
Where did that information come from?
We heard that from law enforcement sources.
Okay, so we don't know.
Now we see her. Okay, so we see this suspect, this passenger right now. Yeah. You can see her. It looks like she's like laying down. At some point earlier, she was bracing herself. Her legs are up. It looks like she may be in shorts. So the part of the reason we believe that officers are so hesitant to do a pit maneuver maneuver or to do a spike strip, and we've seen neither even attempted in this situation, is because of that female passenger and concern for her safety and questions about what is happening with her.
All right, so during your coverage, since you've been on covering this since about 5:30, I'm joining you here late on this coverage of this pursuit. Do you know anything? Has anything been released about the suspect?
No.
Age? Nothing. No.
I mean, we saw a close-up shot of him that looked like he was perhaps balding, looked like a middle-aged man from the tight shot that we got of him earlier. It looked like a middle-aged white man is what I could see, but we're looking at it from thousands of feet above in the air. Whoa, okay. So we got a pedestrian who was crossing the street in the middle of all this. Can you imagine crossing the street and seeing all that? It looked like our suspect just went out of his way to avoid that pedestrian and now continues to drive on. So the wildest moment of this pursuit, Christine, and for those of us just joining us on our Facebook page.
All right, everybody, good evening. Pilar Arias here with News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Big thanks to the people working at our sister station, Fox 11 Los Angeles, for keeping us in the loop as to exactly what's happening out here with this more than 2-hour-long police chase. They're saying it's one of the longest police chases they have seen in a very, very long time. They're just surprised, as we all are, that it's still going on. I am about 5 minutes away from going live again on Fox 10 Extra. That's Channel 45, Cable 9 here in Arizona. If you're not in Arizona or you don't have a TV, all you have to do is go to fox10phoenix.com/live. Do not worry. I am going to do the same thing that I did the last time you saw me. I'm going to be covering the police chase. We are going to stay on it, but it's going to be me narrating. We will no longer hear the talent at our sister station. You see CHP extremely close here. We might witness this pit maneuver in just moments. The CHP unit right on the suspect's tail, and he's going to the left-hand side here. I'm going to listen into our sister station really quickly.
So it's a different scenario here where you say the driver...
Look how close he's getting. This looks like we may see a pit maneuver here, or this is the closest that we've seen officers get. CHP really getting close. It looks like they have some open road here. Maybe they're going to try it.
Well, as I was saying, we've seen passengers bail in these pursuits from time to time, and you're saying this driver actually tried to prevent her from exiting? That's what it looked like?
Yes, it looked like she was trying to get... She opened up the door and physically was trying to get out, and then it looked like he was physically holding her back.
One of our viewers, we see your comments coming in here on Facebook. We appreciate you staying with us during this pursuit. One person saying, I'm a survivor of domestic violence, praying for her. So again, we don't know the relationship between the two. We don't know that much about the suspect or the passenger, but you say all along has there been this concern for this passenger?
Yes, since the beginning. That was the initial call, was some sort of domestic incident, and from what we've seen ourselves, it appears that there is a toxic relationship happening within that car, and certainly we're now in Vernon, the community, the small city of Vernon is where we are now. We have been through so many Southern California communities throughout Los Angeles and Orange County. Some of those communities that we've driven through in this pursuit include Southgate, Norwalk, Huntington Beach, Anaheim, Stanton, Lakewood, Paramount. We have been all over the map in the course of the last 2 hours plus of this pursuit.
And watching just a bit of your coverage, Alex, this pursuit has been on the freeway.
Multiple freeways. We were on the 605, we were on the 405, we were on the 22, we were on the 105, as well as mostly on surface streets. That's been the majority of the time, but there have been several different stops on Southern California freeways. The guy drove down south to Orange County and then drove back up north into LA County.
Tiffany, thank you for your comment. I appreciate you joining us. Somebody's saying, I hope he doesn't crash the car. You know, that's another concern here. Right now, this road is wide open. You can see not a lot of traffic, but this has been during rush hour, where it's much heavier. Police, they're obviously staying right there on the tail of that vehicle, sending the message, this driver is not getting away, this pursuit's not going to end. But look at the way he's driving there, crossing lines, green light there at least, but you've had passengers in crosswalks actually, making this even more dangerous. and law enforcement there staying right there.
And some of our viewers typing in, let's end this already, let's pit him, and that might happen here.
There you go.
That was our first attempt at a pit maneuver. He did not make contact. Will there be a second attempt at a pit maneuver as we now enter onto the freeway?
Not on the ramp here. That would be too dangerous. A move on a spot like this.
All right, everybody, trust me, we are going to continue to follow this police chase, but I'm just moments away from being on TV, so that's why you see it on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. Again, my name is Pilar Arias. I'm going to continue to cover this chase, so don't go anywhere, but I'm no longer going to have the audio up from our sister station. That's because I'm just moments away from being on TV. So again, I will have it for you here. We're going to continue to cover it. Don't you go anywhere. We'll have it for you right here on News Now, which is part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Lots of you here with us tonight, thousands, matter of fact. Thanks so much for being here. We just witnessed the first attempt at a pit maneuver. We're thinking we might see the pit maneuver here. I've got about 2 minutes. The producer just told me in my ear before I go live on TV. So again, we're going to continue to follow it. Don't worry. I'm going to bring up the audio here now that I just learned we have 2 minutes to go.
Looked like she was trying to get out of the car and that he was holding her back, and then he shut the door. And given the fact that we know this is a domestic violence incident, we know that he's been screaming at her throughout this situation, that would make more sense, wouldn't it, that she was trying to get away and he stopped her from doing it versus the other way around.
So looks like getting off of one freeway and onto another freeway. Alex, does it seem to you this driver's going in an area that seems to be a greater circle?
No. I mean, a lot of times we'll see in those pursuits where somebody just hangs out, say, I'm from Agora Hills, where I grew up, and I really know the streets of Agora Hills, so I'm going to drive around Agora Hills for an hour. That has not been the case. This driver has been everywhere, all different communities with all different backgrounds. Does not seem to be any rhyme or reason on sort of where this guy is going. He's just going anywhere he can go to try to create some distance between the officers and himself.
Mm-hmm. One of our viewers here on the chat, I think it was Jeff, saying that the helicopter is going to need fuel. If this is an LAPD chopper flying overhead, they have more than one. Whatever support helicopters they're using, Sheriff's Department, whatever it is, they have more than one that can fly this. News choppers, though, we might have to refuel.
Well, we actually stopped. We had to go off the air for about 15 minutes as our chopper went and refueled around 6:15. So we hopefully have enough fuel to keep us going for a good amount of time now as we continue to follow this pursuit. And that's the fuel question.
Welcome back to Fox 10 Extra News at 7. I'm Pilar Arias from the News Now set. We are still taking a look at some live images from Sky Fox from our sister station, Fox 11 Los Angeles. So I do have to say viewer discretion is advised. And we've been listening in on both their on-air and their Facebook live coverage. The anchors there at Fox 11 LA, they said this is the longest pursuit they have seen in a long, long time. We have still not learned any information on the suspect, the man behind the wheel. That was a very close call. Aside from the fact that he is a domestic assault suspect. He also had a near miss with a pedestrian just moments ago. We've seen the woman in the passenger seat attempt to get out of the car a couple times, and the suspect just pulled her back in, just would not let her get out, despite the fact that she got the door all the way open. So now we are more than 2 hours into this police chase. CHP, that stands for California Highway Patrol Officers, they are trailing extremely closely. They have tried one attempt at a pit maneuver, and they have been told that, hey, when it is safe to do so, stop this guy, do whatever it takes to make this end peacefully. We've seen the suspect drive into a couple drive-thrus, a Wiener Schnitzel, a McDonald's, not actually through the drive-thru, but through the parking lot of the fast food restaurants. And it's been on many freeways, many surface streets. It started in Southgate. It's gone through Anaheim, Stanton, Lakewood, Paramount. It's gone on many freeways, the 605, the 405, the 22, the 105. We've got thousands of people watching right now on the News Now stream, and here's another attempt possibly for a pit maneuver. Again, viewer discretion is advised because this is live right now. This is probably the second closest the officer has gotten to the suspect vehicle, and you can see the woman, it looked like sticking her arm out saying, hey, help me please. And this driver has not encountered the typical Los Angeles area traffic, even though he's gone through some narrow streets. There's been some close calls with some civilians, some pedestrians, some vehicles. Still going more than 2 hours later. Kind of makes you wonder how he's had enough gas to do so, because even Skyfox in LA has had to go refuel. They went off the air for about 15 minutes and went back. So again, we're going to continue to follow this. Please join us by going to youtube.com/Fox10Phoenix. Back to you guys.
There.
So that's Olympic in East LA.
We're now into the East Los Angeles community.
And this is the first you covered this in East LA, right? First this driver's been in East LA?
First he's been in East LA, yeah. We were in South LA earlier, Southgate, but this is the first time that we've seen him in East Los Angeles. I mean, it is extraordinary, and I think part of the reason that so many people are joining us on Facebook right now is that so many communities have been impacted by this guy driving through. By hearing the lights and sirens going right by their house, and hearing all the news choppers and all of that. As we were talking about earlier, it is scary when you're just driving like these folks are, probably trying to get home or go to the grocery store, and all of a sudden this is right behind you, and you kind of don't know what to do.
So Stariel making this comment, unacceptable for any pursuit to go on for multiple hours. I think the big difference in this one is that you have a passenger. It's said to be a domestic violence issue. So if you do a pit maneuver, if you put out a spike strip, what about this passenger? What about the safety of this passenger? That, I think, is probably the big concern. That's what you talked about, if I'm right, Alex, earlier with our police specialist, Dennis Zine. That's the big concern?
That is the big concern. And another challenge for officers in this situation, the guy has put down his window, and the female passenger's put down her window too. But okay, here we go. Are we going to see a pit maneuver here?
Driving on the wrong side of the road. We're trying to evade police.
One of our viewers just suggesting that part of the reason he may have gotten so close is try to get a look inside the vehicle, because the windows are tinted illegally. It is hard to find out. Here we go. Hard for police to know exactly what's going on inside of there. This driver has been motioning out the window at some points. We're not sure if it was a middle finger or what he was doing towards the choppers and towards the officers behind. CHP definitely getting more aggressive in this pursuit and taking it to another level here.
So this pursuit has been covered here on Fox 11 on our newscast since the 5 o'clock hour. We are now coming up on 8 p.m. as we continue to bring this coverage to you on our Facebook Live. A lot of people commenting on the domestic violence issue, and a lot of people feeling they can relate to the fear of something like that or have been tied to a situation like that, and certainly that gives everyone great concern. All right, coming up here on another red light, this car, like he's been doing all along, crossing yellow lines. Garfield right there, you see, at Olympic, and going through yet another red light.
We're still in East LA. In East LA, driving on the wrong side of the road. Now we're picking up speeds dramatically as the CHP officer stays right with this guy.
Yeah, David, you make a good point about the safety of pedestrians and other civilians. With this rush hour situation being behind us now, you can see the roads have been much more open. Police have called off pursuits in the past, but also our police specialist, Dennis Zine, has said you can't let...
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
This could be... There's our pet maneuver looked into a road, didn't quite work, didn't quite take.
Perhaps the speeds they're rather fast for...
It looked like the differentiation between the newer street paving and the older street paving may have hurt them there. But you wonder if the CHP officer was able to damage the vehicle in any way from that. The vehicle continues to drive on. I mean, this is quite a performance from this Honda Accord, to be honest, in terms of fuel mileage and in terms of its ability to maneuver.
So a lot of you are commenting on the wide open roads at this hour. Well, keep in mind it is, coming up on 8 o'clock, but you got a lot more traffic earlier during the rush hour. Am I right, Alex, as you were covering this on both surface streets and freeways? Much more traffic earlier, right?
More, but I would certainly say this was less traffic than we would see on a normal Wednesday night in terms of rush hour. Some of that may be, the spring break nature of this week for a lot of people. Okay, so now we're making a turn. We're now in the community of Montebello, yet another community now impacted by this 2-hour-plus pursuit. This appears to be a more wide-open stretch. Could we see another attempt at a pit maneuver? The CHP officer picking up speed. Worried perhaps about that intersection right there. If you notice, the CHP officers tend to stop at the intersections to make sure they don't hit anybody while this driver just speeds through them.
Devora asking if police are perhaps trying to alert pedestrians on the street or making some kind of announcement as they go through here. I don't see a lot of pedestrians on the street at this hour. Again, coming up on 8 o'clock.
Here could be another pit maneuver. Now you can see that the driver is sensing that a pit maneuver is coming, trying to get away from it, driving on the other side of the street to get away from it.
With a median there.
Let's hope there's no other oncoming traffic. Doesn't look like it. I don't know if that was a red light camera. So in addition to everything else, he may be getting a bill in the mail. just saying that. So now we are dealing with the issue that camera brings up the issue that the sun has gone down. And so now we're going to be dealing with light issues. And probably going to start getting a police light on from the chopper on that vehicle.
And also, we've seen them put out a spike strip in the past. This driver hasn't gone in what you might call a circular type of motion, an area that's repetitive, or like narrow side streets or narrow streets that they could get that spike strip out there. We're now in the Montebello area. We've been in the East LA area, been in Southgate, Norwalk, even Huntington Beach.
Huntington Beach, Anaheim, Stanton. I mean, this is, in terms of a pursuit, as wide an area as we've seen in some time. So many different communities that really have no connection to each other involved in this, which would lead you to believe that this guy's just kind of driving all over the place, somewhat wildly.
Thank you, Andy, for your perspective on. Okay, now we have some traffic there. Boy, he was going at a high rate of speed there past those cars that were stopped apparently at a light. That to me was a bit scary. There have been no accidents, Alex, during this whole pursuit?
As far as we can tell, no accidents, which is pretty extraordinary given the way that this guy's driving. Although it does appear that he is coherent enough to recognize a pedestrian, to recognize traffic problems, and he has avoided some situations that could have been dangerous for other people. So now the police picking up speed here. Could we see another now driving by a bus? Again, a pit maneuver could endanger the female suspect, could endanger other drivers nearby. But it also could be the key to finally ending this. At some point, this car's got to run out of gas.
I like what Kimberly had to say. Kudos to the police for proceeding carefully. We've seen that through those intersections there. The concern, obviously, is a female passenger there, a domestic violence situation. So it really does change the game when it comes to bringing a pursuit like this to an end.
So we continue to follow a suspect that is wanted for some sort of domestic violence. There is a female passenger in the front seat of the car, a male driver who has been driving for several hours now through the streets of Los Angeles and Orange counties.
Cindy noting, I bet the girl is so scared. I was just kind of thinking what the conversation might be in that vehicle with this suspect driving for more than, we're coming up on 3 hours? at some point. A 3-hour pursuit here with police behind them, several attempts at a pit maneuver. I can't imagine what the talk is inside that vehicle. A dangerous move there as that car goes around another vehicle. Michelle, what you said, courage. Mm-hmm.
So now we start seeing, as we see dusk, and we start to see that the police helicopters' light take effect, and we start seeing those lights and sirens take effect more. Now we're approaching an intersection where there is traffic. So what's going to happen here? He stops, avoids the traffic, and then keeps going. But
you know, Alex, I'm wondering, this was not a report of a stolen car in any way, was it?
We don't have a report of a stolen car, but we don't know if whose car this is. If this is his car, if this is her car. We are now back in East Los Angeles.
So to answer what Ryan is asking about, if police know who this suspect is, they're going to get him at some point. So the question is, if they know it's domestic violence, my question is, how do they know that? Where do they get that information? And do they know whom they're dealing with?
Right. Did she call? Did somebody else call? There's still a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to that.
Rosie, I don't think there's any word of kids in the car. Am I right, Alex? You've been on this for a couple of hours.
We have not seen that, and we have not seen evidence of that. The actions of this guy certainly jive with the concept of a domestic violence situation.
And Gabby brings up the concern that, you know, what happens when this does come to an end with this suspect and this domestic violence situation and a woman in the vehicle. There are great concerns for her safety when this does come to an end.
Yeah.
And that's why they're proceeding with such caution. And I also think that police officers have to be, you know, really on alert, because they're going to have to handle this in a certain way with this suspect to see how he reacts when they stop the car.
So we're now 2.5 hours into this pursuit, a pursuit that started before 5:20 tonight and is now still going as we are at 7:53, approaching the 8 o'clock hour.
Okay, Robert, thank you for your information. Let's see. A lot of people commenting on how they've stepped away from this coverage, done whatever they had to do for a little bit, and came back surprised to see the pursuit still on. I came in from a community event. I was surprised to hear you all say you've been on it for 2 hours, coming up on, 3 hours now?
Well, and we had a situation where our chopper had to go down to fuel. We figured, well, that'll still be the end of it. It fuels, gets back up, finds it again, and it's still going, and we've been on for another hour. So we are now in the Monterey Park community, which of course is the home, or was the longtime home, of the LA Sheriff's Department. Now they're based in Los Angeles, but the California Highway Patrol is leading the way and now has some wide open space here. We've seen one unsuccessful pit maneuver, at least so far. One wonders if they're about to try a second one here. Whenever this driver senses that a pit maneuver is about to come, he does speed up and seems to get away from the CHP.
Tracy, to answer your question, I picked up this pursuit around 7:30, so I'm having Alex bring me up to speed. I had not been covering it. I had been at a community event, so I'm still getting some of the information. Some of you are giving us information on the domestic violence nature of this, so I'm just wanting to confirm that.
There's some perspective from John and his evening tonight. Meanwhile, I've been on the air the entire time with this pursuit, which continues. We have seen some moments of real tension in this as this driver continues to evade police. Now it looks like a busy intersection. This is where things get the most dangerous. The driver not stopping, continuing to evade.
Adrienne, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts. Don, yes, we're trying to give you as much information as possible, yet also not go beyond that as we try to cover this pursuit. So a lot of it is just based on observation because police haven't released a lot of information on this yet. So we're doing the best we can with the information we have as we observe this with you all.
So there we go. The window is back down. You can see that female passenger in the side there. It looks like her legs are back up.
Getting darker out there, obviously. You started this pursuit when it was broad daylight, on freeways, on surface streets. Was this always a CHP pursuit, Alex?
No, started with Southgate taking the lead for a while. CHP took over about maybe an hour ago once it was on the freeway. There, as Dennis Zine, our police specialist, pointed out, CHP, California Highway Patrol, has the most.
All right, everybody. Again, my name is Pilar Arias. We normally cut the News Now stream at 8 p.m. Arizona time. That is not going to be the case tonight. We are going to see this chase through in its entirety. So, again, we are thankful for our sister station, Fox 11 Los Angeles' Sky Fox. We're going to continue to listen in, to watch in as long as we can. There's currently 8,500 of you here with us. But, again, my name is Pilar Arias. I'm signing off for the evening. The stream is not ending. So stick with us. Please like, share, subscribe. Let your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors know that when long police chases like this happen, News Now has got you covered.
Kind of a nice advertisement for the fuel efficiency of the Honda Accord. You wonder if this is maybe a hybrid version, too, which would increase that even more in terms of the fuel efficiency.
Westbound Garvey here. Okay. Ramona Boulevard now. All right.
We're in this Alhambra, near the I-10 East.
CHP tends to be the agency that covers this on freeways. We've been now on surface streets for a bit of time here. So wondering if another agency would pick this up. I'm sorry, refresh my memory. Who started this pursuit?
Southgate Police.
PD? All right.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they would be the arresting agency, that the suspect would be turned over to Southgate?
Maybe. I mean, what we don't know is exactly what the original crime was. You know, there's still a lot of questions that we will have, and I think police will be a lot more willing to answer some of them once this hopefully comes to a safe conclusion and that victim is, free from this situation.
And then because it's becoming nightfall, this gets even more dangerous for law enforcement when this does come to a close. It's harder to see the suspect's hands, harder to see situations that they have to deal with to bring this to a safe ending here. I'm wondering if a local jurisdiction would pick this back up, being that it's been on surface streets for so long, or because the person keeps going back and forth, freeways, surface, back to surface streets, will the CHP stay with it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he hadn't been in one local jurisdiction for very long. He seems to keep moving through so many of them. We are now in the East Los Angeles area once again. And we are now getting onto another freeway, as you mentioned, Christine. Here we go, back onto a freeway, back about to pick up the speeds once again. We are moving on to the 10 in East LA, eastbound 10.
Hi, DG. Thanks for your thoughts on us keeping this coverage up. And hi, Reagan, to you as well. Reagan's noting that this is an everyday occurrence in Los Angeles.
Not quite
However, right, a pursuit that's lasted over 2 hours. That's not the everyday pursuit, nor is a domestic violence situation with a female passenger in the car an everyday pursuit. But
and in 20 minutes, we will be approaching 3 hours for this pursuit.
Thanks, Reagan, for being on the pursuit and watching our coverage with us. Justin, you're talking about everyone's safety. I think that the later it gets at night, the concern is obviously it being dark outside, but then also you have fewer pedestrians on the streets, you have fewer cars out on the streets and on the freeways. So on that note, it's just a little bit safer for law enforcement on that note.
Layla pointing out on our Facebook page how amazing it has been to see so much light traffic on the streets of Los Angeles and how that has helped impact this pursuit, perhaps made it easier for this guy to continue to get away for close to 3 hours now, and that is certainly something that we've been noticing as well. Yes, it is, and as Shar is mentioning, it is almost Empire time. For those of you that enjoy a two-screen experience, Jussie Smollett's final episode of Empire is going to be airing on Fox 11 starting right now, and we will continue to broadcast this on the Fox 11 Los Angeles Facebook page and on foxla.com/live.
Manny noting the work of dispatchers, saying they have to type everything up. I'm sure they're exhausted. All right, imagine also, Manny, the police report and how much they have to document as they document every move, every turn, every, violation. Violation right there, driving in the wrong lane.
Driving on the wrong side of the road. Yeah, I mean, and they will have evidence from every police or from a news helicopter in Los Angeles to use as evidence in a potential prosecution against this suspect.
Sherry asking if there's only one headlight on the car. It's hard for me to tell from this vantage point. Oscar, can you tell if the headlights are working on the car? Could you tell?
I can't see that they're on.
Yeah, it's hard to see. It looks pretty dark. Oh, maybe just the left one is on. It's hard to see from this perspective, this angle.
And you wonder if what kind of damage this car may have sustained between running into a fence earlier and also police attempting, or CHP attempting to pit maneuver the car. The front end left side damage happened, I think, during the fence, and the back end right end damage might have happened during the pit maneuver attempt.
Jason, you've been watching from Pennsylvania. I'm always amazed that people find these pursuits and find this coverage in parts all over the world. Somebody mentioning it's like 2, 3 in the morning from where they're. All right, Kevin Dakumi, our reporter, our contributor to, says there's no lights. So Kevin, what is this light you're seeing here? If Kevin, you can answer that question, because Kevin's saying no lights. Okay, Jamie, you're saying one functioning headlight. I gotcha.
One thing a lot of our viewers are saying is that they believe that this suspect may have been trying to push the suspect out of the vehicle earlier. That is not the way that I saw it, but I was seeing it in not a great monitor and saw it quickly and haven't been able to watch it back. So that is very much possible that he was trying to push her out. He has been angry at her, yelling at her.
With a parking light.
Whoa. Oh, that was just a change in the shot. Yeah, although clearly these roads are being illuminated by the police helicopter ahead.
So a lot of folks are noticing or commenting about when the driver hit the fence, what kind of damage was done to the car, or perhaps the lights. Alex, paint a picture for us for those who weren't watching, and even for myself, because I was coming into work.
Now we're transitioning onto another freeway.
Talk about him hitting the fence there. What was that like?
So he pulls into this side street, this alley. It looks like he's completely out of space. He's got nowhere to go. He's boxed in. There's a chain link fence in front of him, and then he just drives through through it. And the chain link fence seemed to hit mostly on the front left side of the vehicle, which is where the headlight may have been damaged, and he just kept going. And then nearby that chain link fence was a park full of people out for the evening, and he just drove through the park, through trees and other things, and then got back onto another road.
Per our Kevin Takumi, eastbound 60 freeway here, going at a high rate of speed. Lit up there by that helicopter night sun. So, Alex, when he hit that fence, was there a thought that, okay, this pursuit's coming to an end right now?
Oh, yeah.
It's over?
It looked like he was coming in because he was boxed in and there was a fence there. And he just said, I'm going to go through it. I mean, there's been a few moments where it looked like this was going to end. Headlights are off. Kevin from Ontario, Canada, thanks for watching us from there. If this guy crashes with her feet on the dash like that, the airbag will push her knees. That's what I was thinking as well, how dangerous a position she was sitting in earlier. We don't know if she's in that position right now.
Sandra, thank you for the perspective. Sandra pointing out that if you subscribe to local Fox affiliates, wherever you are across the country, that this might pop up on their feed. That could be one way. Thanks, Sandra. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, thank you for joining us in Los Angeles. My name is Alex Michelson. If you don't usually watch us, I'm with Christine Devine. We anchor the Fox 11 10 o'clock news here in Los Angeles.
And 5 o'clock.
And 5
I was
o'clock
off it
news.
today. You were on it.
Yes.
You've been on this for hours.
Been working a long time at this, and we appreciate your viewership, and we appreciate if you'll join us on TV as well tonight. So we are now. What time is it now? 8:06.
Yeah. You picked it up at what time?
We picked it up at 5:25 on the air. There she is, though. We're getting another good look at her feet on the dashboard.
Look at that. Look at what's.
And there's a struggle. Wow. There's a struggle going on. It looks like they may be fighting, physically fighting in the car as he drives at 64 miles an hour on the freeway. Look at that.
Boy, that is just so scary.
Wow. A physical struggle there, which you can see through the lights. The lights of this vehicle are not on as it drives. It is amazing that this guy has been able to do all of the things that he's been able to do while at the same time engaging in this sort of battle with this woman. Just from a driving perspective. Now we're at 80 miles an hour. We're on the 60 eastbound. We're in Monterey Park, and things are getting more dangerous.
Boy, the fact that they're going at this high rate of speed, I can't imagine the conversation in that vehicle at this time. You see again her legs still up. It's hard to tell what that struggle was about. To be a fly on the wall inside that vehicle, to know what's going on. Is she asking him to pull over, begging him to pull over? We just don't know. Police not revealing anything yet to us about the suspect, who he is or who she is. I'm hoping they know who they are and have some good leads on that. 60 eastbound right now at Rosemead. We're in the Montebello area. We've been in the Montebello area for some time. Rosemead now. On the surface street.
We're now approaching 100 miles an hour. This is the fastest that we've been throughout this nearly 3 hours in terms of the pursuit. Several of our viewers are commenting, asking questions about if there's a child in the back or if this woman may be pregnant. We don't know the answer to either of those things. We do not have any official report from there being a child in the back, but as you can see, that back window is very darkly tinted and has never come down. So we have not gotten a good look at that vehicle. We also don't have a close enough view of her to determine whether she may be pregnant.
Confirm that speed for me. How fast is this driver going? 98 miles per hour with this passenger in the vehicle. Coming up on the 605 freeway soon. Okay, slowing down here now to, 80 miles per hour here. The only, I thank goodness it is open in a way that perhaps it's safer that it's open. But then if there was more traffic to slow down the vehicle, if he was boxed in, perhaps it would help bring it to a close. Really dangerous.
Yeah.
Somebody commenting that the woman with her legs up looks like she's relaxed. I don't know if there's anything relaxing at all about being in a 2.5 hour pursuit.
And it looks like being beaten during it. I mean, there was clear verbal abuse happening earlier, but what we just saw about 5 minutes ago and what we saw an hour and a half ago, it looked like there was some sort of physical fight going on in that car.
It still looks like some agitation there.
Yeah.
Coming up on 3 hours now. Boy, this is really, honestly, the longest pursuit I've seen us on. Boy, I can't even remember a longer pursuit where we've been on the air covering. I mean, sometimes we've had a driver drive towards the Mexico border.
Or a driver drive up north towards Bakersfield, and those go a long time, but then we often lose them because our chopper can't fly up there. This is as long a pursuit as we've had that stayed in our viewing market the entire time.
I'm just using the word conversation for lack of a better term. I don't know what's being discussed in this vehicle. And, you know, what he's trying to do, that's just perspective. We don't know. He's been continuing the pursuit for 3 hours now. Julie talking about the tinted windows.
Well, thank you all for watching as well. And Granny, my name is Alex Michelson, along with the fabulous Miss Christine Devine. You have to wonder. I mean, the moment that you really fear about with this is, you know, if this stops, if there is a pit maneuver, if he runs out of gas, is this guy armed? Is there somebody else in the back seat? You know, what is the condition physically of this woman, and what is he going to do to her? How do you get that woman safely out of the vehicle? Those are some of the big questions that we've now had for going on 3 hours. I can remember. Is this guy
been continuing the pursuit for 3 hours now? Julie talking about the tinted windows. He's been continuing the border.
Or a driver drive up north towards Bakersfield, and those go a long time, but then we often lose them because our chopper can't fly up there. This is as long a pursuit as we've had that stayed in our viewing market the entire time.
I'm just using the word conversation for lack of a better term. I don't know what's being discussed in this vehicle. And, you know, what he's trying to do, that's just perspective. We don't know. He's been continuing the pursuit for 3 hours now. Julie talking about the tinted windows.
Well, thank you all for watching as well. And Granny, my name is Alex Michelson, along with the fabulous Miss Christine Devine. You have to wonder. I mean, the moment that you really fear about with this is, you know, if this stops, if there is a pit maneuver, if he runs out of gas, is this guy armed? Is there somebody else in the back seat? You know, what is the condition physically of this woman, and what is he going to do to her? How do you get that woman safely out of the vehicle? Those are some of the big questions that we've now had for going on 3 hours.
All right, look at the moves here during a little bit of traffic, not overly heavy traffic. You were talking about the lengthy pursuits. Our Kevin Takumi telling us that back in the day, he did cover a pursuit all the way to Bakersfield.
Yeah. I can remember those. And I remember the night that Dan Cohen's last night with you. You guys were on the air for, what, until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning with the pursuit?
Yeah.
And that started in the 10 o'clock hour?
That's right.
So that was a several-hour pursuit as well.
Thanks, Kevin. Hacienda Heights area.
Yeah, so they're eastbound 60.
Eastbound 60. Yeah, Sam, I'm not sure. It's hard to see, you know, what she's exactly wearing. It's just too hard for me to guess, and at this point it would be just a guess.
So we're in the San Gabriel Valley now in the eastbound 60. Another part part of our market that is now engaged in a pursuit that has included East Los Angeles, South Los Angeles, Northern Orange County, Huntington Beach, Long Beach, so many different communities impacted by this pursuit.
Yeah, Meg, I agree with Meg. We can't speculate why the driver, or so the passenger, is sitting the way she's sitting, legs up, legs down. I mean, none of us are in this situation. A 3-hour pursuit on freeways, surface streets, being pursued by a police helicopter, CHP vehicles behind you. I mean, it would be just a guess for any of us to guess why the legs are up, the legs are down. It's just a guess.
Yeah, so now we're going.
Yeah, Chrissy, we have had the chopper able to zoom in just a little bit there. That's where we really saw that struggle inside the car.
Yeah, the comments that all of you
very true.
Are saying is that it appears that so much concern for this female.
You can see that window still open. It's a cool night, at least here on the west side. It was very cool tonight and very overcast. Somebody talked about not running AC to save gas, but I can tell you on the west side there would be no need for AC tonight.
Andrew saying that he's watching from northern Georgia, and he's now finished 3 loads of laundry during the 3 hours of this pursuit. We are now approaching the 3-hour mark that this has been continuing. A domestic violence suspect with a potential, certainly looks like a victim of domestic violence that we have noticed ourselves in the passenger seat, now driving quickly on the freeway. At some points he's approached 98 miles an hour. He's driven through a fence. He's driven on sidewalks. He's driven in every which way to get away from law enforcement. CHP leading the pursuit now after several agencies were involved earlier.
Thank you, Kevin Takumi, for giving us the update that the information 60 freeway coming up on the 57 interchange. This has not been an area where you've seen this pursuit earlier tonight, correct,
No.
Alex? You haven't been this far east.
No.
Okay.
So there you see, get a good look at the, looks like, is that a sheriff's helicopter?
Looks like it.
Looks like a sheriff's logo there, putting the light on that. Our chopper trying not to get in the way of the law enforcement vehicle there. And now you see right there a CHP officer ahead of the vehicle. Is this,
you're asking, is this an intentional move by law enforcement?
Right.
Or did this CHP officer just happen to be at this spot?
And you're nervous for these drivers that are nearby. And you look, the CHP looking like he's trying to box him in.
Is that sheriff?
And you wonder, you got to, if it is sheriff, if that air helicopter that we were just in was coordinating with that driver. So the speed really picking up here as we continue on the freeway. Now we're getting off the freeway, going back onto side streets. Will he continue to take this off-ramp? Yes. About to make a left turn out of this.
Phil Ramos asking me a question. Have I ever seen the after stories of these chases? Have we? Whoa.
Nogales, we're now in Roland Heights? Yes. Okay.
Have we followed up? Well, we had a pursuit a couple of weeks ago where, if you guys might remember, it was a maintenance truck that was stolen. Okay, weaving in and out of traffic
here we go.
Here.
God,
okay.
Amazing
Tight
how the
traffic
way this guy has been able to avoid hitting anything.
Through that red light. So I was saying we had a maintenance truck that was stolen. That crashed.
Here we go into another
parking lot.
Parking lot. He's used these parking lots as a way to get away from officers. He did this with a McDonald's drive-through. He
parking.
did this.
Parking. Parking. Is he going to run?
Getting out.
He's going to run.
Getting out. Run. Okay, now we got a pursuit.
Run.
We're now following this guy. Where are we right now?
We were near the 57 and the 60. All right, people, this is a very commercial area. You have to wonder if the suspect is running into a store.
Which could be a barricade situation.
Yeah.
And we also never saw the woman get out. There were a 99-cent store. Look at people leaving, trying to get out of there. Officers saying, get out of the... Oh, my
gosh. All right, so...
Wow. Look at the fear in these people's faces as they're now being forced to leave this 99 cents. Look, a little girl there.
Look at the far back there. People fleeing with a
grocery cart.
Just get out of the way, find safety.
So you wonder if this guy is armed. We did not see evidence of him holding a gun, but you never know what was inside there. You can imagine the highway patrol officers yelling at everybody to get out of there. Have we been able to see the passenger door of that car is open, which leads you to believe possibly the female got out of there safely? We don't know that. Our camera didn't get to see it.
That store was very crowded at this hour, 8:20 p.m. here in Los Angeles. Look at the amount of people coming out of that store, that 99-cent store. Boy. Okay, look at law enforcement there below asking them to clear that store. All right, so obviously, people, they're at the store after work, after school. Probably it closes maybe 9 o'clock, so people getting their last-minute shopping done. People telling them to get, oh gosh, still more people in the store.
Everybody's saying, get out, go, 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 come out now. This looks like a gentleman maybe with a cane. May not be easy for him to move.
An employee there. Okay, law enforcement going in. You have to appreciate the job of law enforcement here. Everybody else exiting, and they go in.
This older gentleman...
He needs to keep moving out of the way.
A bit confused.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're going through the aisles of this 99-cent store. And we don't know if he was able... It's possible he got out the back.
Yeah. Al, I can't finish the story right now about the past chase because this is a pretty big development here where you finally have this pursuit that has come to an end here. This is the spot where the passenger was in that vehicle. Police, though, were concentrating on the driver and thinking about all of the customers inside that store. So we'll focus on that right now to try to see if they can bring this to a close.
There are two possibilities.
Okay. In there or not in there?
Well, those are the two possibilities.
Sorry.
The other possibility is it possible that he grabbed some clothes from in there or something and then ran out the store?
That quick?
I mean,
could he have escaped with everybody else?
I mean, there was all that chaos, right? All those people.
I suppose that could happen.
I mean, it's unlikely, but it's not like there was much of a suspect description of him at that point. I mean, that was our first look at him.
And I wasn't trying to make a joke. I was trying to say in or out. Could there be a back door?
Is there a back door? Because they're now going to go row by row and try to clear this store looking for this guy, unless he happens to be hanging out somewhere.
Yeah, Michelle, I agree with you. There were police cars in the back as well. So who knows? Gosh, they're walking out rather calmly. Are they thinking that perhaps he's not inside that store there?
Or did they apprehend him? I mean, did they take him into custody? What I want to know is what happened to that woman.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her. So we have, just from an operational perspective, we do have our news crews now headed to this 99-cent store to try to give us some perspective on the ground, to try to see if we can, talk to some of those people and to try to. So now we're looking at that vehicle, and is she still in the front seat?
I can't tell. Hard to tell. All right. So, wait.
Okay, there he is.
They got him. All right.
The suspect is now in custody. It is a peaceful end to a wild pursuit. We are now over 3 hours since this began, and it appears that the suspect is in custody. Now we go back to the car. Now we're going to get a look in the back seat of that car. People were wondering if there were kids or other people in the back seat. We're about to have that answer.
The question you bring up, Alex, is where is that woman? Perhaps she got to safety somehow. Did she run? We just don't know. If I had been in a 3-hour pursuit in that car, I might want to get away from the car myself.
Yeah.
We don't know. It is just a guess now. So obviously they're looking at that car, perhaps trying to get some kind of information.
Is she still in the front seat?
Yeah. This angle, I can't tell.
I mean, they're certainly taking a long time there.
Well, there you have it. People watch these pursuits and they ask how many times do they get away. This was a long pursuit with a lot of law enforcement and a lot of time invested in trying to bring this to a safe ending. You sometimes have a suspect pull over to a place that they're familiar with. I haven't seen this happen often where it's at a shopping mall or shopping location. Sometimes they'll go into a garage at a shopping mall and kind of try to disappear. But right here you have a strip mall, and of course the big concern is the safety of all those customers in that store. Alex?
Yeah. I remember a pursuit a few years back that I was on where they did something similar, pulled in and went into a restaurant, and I was not far behind it, and then everybody ran out of the restaurant and became a hostage situation, and that was one of the more terrifying and more memorable pursuits in recent memory here. So, the big question, I mean, I think we all want to know is first off, who is this person parking here? Secondly, what is the deal with this woman?
Well, look, law enforcement, they're saying, don't park here.
Stringer.
Yeah. Don't park here. Back it up.
Yeah, that looks like it's a somebody that's paid by the story to get video. Is the woman in that front seat? Why are they spending so much time at that car? And we have not seen an ambulance or anything. They searched the trunk. But why, if this car was cleared, would they still be standing there? That leads one to believe maybe the woman is still there.
Possibly hurt.
Possibly hurt. I mean, she clearly was getting beaten up. Or certainly appeared to be beaten up. We don't know that for a fact.
All I can say is, as I look at this here at this 99-cent store, I'm just so grateful that there was not anybody taken hostage, apparently, nor hurt. This suspect, was pretty quick on his feet to get out of that vehicle and run into a location there. And you saw how many people were inside that store, how many people came running out in pockets. I'm just really so grateful that there was nobody apparently hurt in this.
And how sort of 0 to 60 that reaction had to be for those customers in the 99-cent store who were nowhere, not think. If you're in the middle of a store and a pursuit just comes to you, you basically have no warning, and then all of a sudden you're running like that.
So a couple of you keep referring to the story that I was starting to tell. What happens when these are over, days later? The pursuit where the truck was stolen, the work truck, ended in a crash. We did follow up when that person was arraigned in court and saw their mugshot, etc. We tend to work in a daily grind business where there's not always a lot of follow-up, but think of all the charges this guy's facing now. All the violations, all the different cities, all the different jurisdictions.
Yeah, Christine, I think that woman's still in there. I mean, the fact that I think they're communicating with her. We haven't seen her get out of the car. We haven't seen an ambulance anywhere else. You wonder, though, if we are going to see, if she is in there and she is hurt, if there's going to be some sort of ambulance that gets here quickly. And now you see news crews, including our colleagues at KCAL and our own news crew, now arriving on the scene. They were following closely behind this pursuit as it drove from city to city.
Hi, Sam. Thank you for posting on our chat here. Yeah, you're seeing law enforcement keep people at a distance as they might for any investigation, but you're right, Alex, there still are a lot of questions as to that vehicle and the status of that woman who was in that vehicle and where she is and how she's doing. Also, the suspect, was the suspect placed in that car right there?
Yes.
So the suspect
hasn't left yet.
Makes you wonder if they're still trying to get some information.
I mean, you would imagine the information might be pertaining to this woman and what was going on.
Okay, Linda, thanks for your perspective. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm not going to feel better until I see this woman safely out of that vehicle. It's possible that she already is. I just don't. If she was, why would there be several officers pointed right there talking to her? I think she's in. I think you can see her. And they're talking to her.
If you would have asked me how this pursuit was going to come to an end, the driver pulling there into a parking spot at a strip mall was not necessarily how I would have predicted this one. Somebody noted about him taking the time to pull in the spot and not just pulling up and ditching the car. How these come to an end, they all differ, they all vary, but it looks like, who's recording there? I'm surprised they're letting that person record there unless that's law enforcement. Ask him to go.
That appears, my guess is that's a stringer. This is just a chaotic scene. It is also possible that law enforcement is not too thrilled with this guy after leading them on a pursuit for 3 hours, and they might allow some cameras to get a good look at him after as well.
I'm thinking by 10 p.m. we'll have a possible picture of this suspect and what he looks like.
Now they're going to move. It looks like a lot of camera guys, including possibly ours.
Yeah, Mike, the person that was in the car that was hit by the truck that we covered a couple of weeks ago, it looked like a very bad crash, but I understand that the injuries were not as bad as you might have thought with the nature of a crash like that, and I believe the last report was that she was going to be okay.
Although okay, so it looks like that may be our Ed Lascos there on the ground. As reporters try to see what we are seeing here, which is a closer look at. So it appears that this woman is maybe unresponsive, or clearly appears to be hurt. If she wasn't, you would imagine that they would just get her out of this vehicle. There is now an ambulance nearby. It looks like the fire department has something. The question is, are they going to be able to get her out of there?
So in case you're just joining us here, it's 8:30 at Fox 11 News in Los Angeles. I'm Christine Devine here with my co-anchor Alex Michelson. Alex has been on this pursuit since 5:30 tonight, so you can imagine the time that we've been following this, only for it to end here at a 99-cent store. And the concern is the woman passenger. Somebody said, okay, the pursuit's over. Well, the concern now is that woman passenger. Remember, this was said to be a domestic violence situation, a 3-hour pursuit, more than 3-hour pursuit on surface streets and freeways. And now because this scene right here is not over, there's no conclusion right now at this scene. Police there, law enforcement moving in there with that police tape to keep people away and to move those news crews back. So this scene is still ongoing.
Usually in a crime scene, law enforcement would have a little bit of a heads up before the news media gets there, and so they would create a police tape and all that other sort of thing. But because we were following this so closely and got there literally within minutes of this situation, that whole process has not happened yet, which is why we're seeing some of the news crews get so close. So we now see what looks like a gurney that's being brought in to try to get this woman out of there. These are some of the EMS workers that are here to try to help this person. You wonder if they, it's not very much room there. They could move that other car. But they're bringing in So now the question is the health and the well-being of this woman that we have seen her would appear to be beaten, verbally abused for hours, about 3 hours, through multiple different jurisdictions, and we are trying to figure out how exactly she's doing. So now they are taking this woman. She's able to. It looks like she's able to walk, or at least they're able to carry her out. Can we tell if she's conscious? So they're taking her out. It looks like she is conscious, putting her onto a gurney. We see her legs. We see they're putting, it looks like a blanket on her.
Well, she's been through quite an ordeal, over 3-hour pursuit. We don't have any information as to the nature of the relationship between the driver and this woman. A few of you are asking about somebody being in the back seat of the vehicle or a child in the back seat. We are not hearing that, and I don't see law enforcement dealing with the back seat.
If there was, they would get them out of there by now.
Yeah.
I think they were able to clear the rest of the car. So the fact is, I wonder if we can zoom in on. Yeah.
We have a reporter there on the scene. I was hoping to get that reporter on with us here on the Facebook Live, but they're in the midst of trying to get interviews and get more information. Okay, Alex, do I have this right? The vehicle that had the suspect has been moved? Is that right? Is the suspect out of there?
It looks like it has been moved. Either the vehicle's been moved or the guy's out of there. It's one of those two, but it certainly is not where it used to be. Again, it looks like law enforcement now clearing the rest of the car, making sure that nobody else is in there, but the fact that they haven't pulled any kids or anybody from there is a good sign. So now we get a good look at this woman being loaded into an ambulance, and we see some of the media cameras there, and she will hopefully be taken to safety. Let's hope that she is okay, and that we get a positive update on her condition. I know there were reports, some of our viewers were saying reports of her being unconscious, and maybe she was knocked unconscious temporarily. It looked like she was conscious, didn't it?
It seems so. Nadine asking us to let you all know how she's doing and if she's okay. It's 8:30 now. We hope to have a more full report at 10 p.m. tonight. Not sure how much information law enforcement will give us up as we start our newscast at 10. But I appreciate those of you who are truly concerned about, what appears to be a victim in this pursuit. That was the initial concern, that there was some kind of domestic violence matter. We'll have to see what the outcome is on this one.
So, well, it appears that we do have some resolution on this story, finally, after more than 3 hours. We thank you for joining us on our Facebook page, the hundreds of thousands of you that have joined in. At one point, this broadcast had over 120,000 people watching on our Facebook page. A 3-hour pursuit. It is now over. The suspect is in custody. The biggest concern has been about the female passenger that appears to be the victim of domestic abuse, including domestic abuse during the pursuit itself. She is now in that ambulance. She is now being cared for by rescue workers, and we will continue to follow this. Our Ed Laskos, as you just saw, is there. He is in the process of talking to law enforcement, talking to some of the terrified shoppers at the 99-cent store who were forced to flee, and trying to get more information about who this guy is and who that woman is and her condition tonight. So we thank you all for joining us. I'm going to finally take a bathroom break after 3.5 hours of this.
Alex, you and Marla Tejas were on this in the 5 o'clock hour, and so we will bring you the update tonight on Fox 11 News at 10 o'clock. Our reporter is there on the scene, and we thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
At iHerb, we make and